Hello and welcome back. Zoe here, joined by Jake and Johnny, and we're getting ready and set up for our last match in the EMEA region. We had a barrier close match, an absolute stump. What's next, Jake?
I mean, this is a match with massive stakes, with massive expectations. Both VP and Twisted Minds, they've been vying for that second place slot in the region. And right, like that has huge implications, although your seeding isn't going to necessarily dictate who qualifies to EWC. This has a massive mental implication for these teams. Whoever comes out on top here is going to be feeling a lot better about their chances of qualifying to that final tournament. So they both really want to leave their mark on this match.
And it's certainly the last tough test for Twisted Minds, as their opponents coming up are Frosttails as well as 1DVS 100Gs. Like I don't know. I did so well all day long.
DVG from now on. But,
yeah,
I got respect for Dip and the Gorillas after some games that I've seen. I've seen some good stuff.
Honestly, but we've had respect for that team all stage long, since they've been pushing their opponents. Now, Twisted Minds also pushing their opponents, of course, currently very much on the top of the standings. The only team that managed to play really close against OWCS. And if we want to take something away from last week's match against Gen.G, don't bother, because there was nothing to take away. They just ran them over. It was an awful match for Gen.G. Twisted Minds barely broke a sweat.
Simple has been pretty goated for me this season, and I think the support line is really on par with the best, certainly in the region, maybe in the world. I think it's a key part of their success. And I mean, it's just like they're just ridiculously stacked, right? KSA, Quartz, Psycho, this lineup has looked so sick for them. They just have a lot of threats. On the other side, though, very serious contenders in Virtus.pro. Not going to be an easy team to take down, even if you are as solid as Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and Virtus.pro, the most interesting thing, I think, for everyone at this stage has been the implementation of Ice Gnome, right? Even last week, we saw Ice Gnome being put into the mix on much more maps than we expected to see him, probably to give him more reps. But for them to like have Vestola riding the bench here and there can be a great thing, can be a worrisome thing. Where are you standing on the matter, Johnny?
Well, I think they need to integrate someone like Ice Gnome into their play if they want to be a top team come the mid-season championship. At least you need to add that kind of like dynamic to your team, right? And we're seeing other teams in the world who are actually doing this. Even a team like Falcons, for example, they picked up someone to add a bit more dive flair to their team, recognizing that Hanbin alone might not just be enough for that team to beat someone like Crazy Raccoon. And so VP, I think they're kind of doing something similar here, where Vestola can only take you so far. Unless you have a perfect meta for Vestola, you're going to play an uphill battle. And yes, you can force a few maps here and there where Vestola is really playing his A game and feeling really comfortable. There are ways to bridge the gap in Overwatch in 2025, because there are, heroes like Hazard and such. But I think still Ice Gnome adds a different kind of like dimension to this team, so I don't mind them giving him some reps in the regular season.
It's just a thing, right? When you're subbing in particular players for particular play styles, then that's very bannable as well, since you know exactly what to expect coming out of that player, and like that player is also not forced to have a broader like hero pool because they're only really being subbed in for like one particular playstyle. Either way, Ice Gnome has been looking good so far for Virtus.pro. Still gonna be Twisted Minds the favorite in this very matchup. Let's see if they're coming out on top. So for all the action, I'm gonna hand it over to you guys.
I have to agree with you, Zoe. As good as VP have been historically, I think Twisted Minds, I like their squad. I think they've been the team to play faster tempo styles. And for me, that's been a winning formula in EMEA, right? Like teams that have tried to play slow, there's been good moments for them, but ultimately it's been the teams who seize the tempo, who seize the initiative, who look stronger to me. And that has been Twisted Minds through and through. Got somebody like Funny Astro on the team, making a lot of these shot calls, playing a lot of these high tempo main supports. And that's been a big boon for them. And with the Brig Ban here on Oasis, it's a great opener for forcing that kind of a style. Lucio, Kiri, a very comfortable spot for Twisted Minds to be.
Yeah, and VP, they like playing this Juno Brig kind of composition, put Fixa onto that hero, but like you said, the Brig Ban will now come in handy for a team like Twisted Minds. This is going to be a great matchup, Jake. I can't wait. This is one of those few matchups a week which has the potential to be a fantastic 5-map banger. So let's hope both teams bring their A game today and provide us a nice series to round out the EMEA.
I think control, fraudulent game mode or not, is actually a really important place for VP to show they can keep up with the tempo that Twisted Minds is known to love to bring. Fixa Taking this wide angle position though makes it very awkward to kind of walk out on the high ground. He can always threaten to boop you off, and so KSA over on the Diva is going to play from the low ground, playing a little bit more of a pokey style. Shockwave also on the Cassidy, so going to be potentially a bit of a vulnerability for Gala to protect.
They have the high ground for a little bit playing the back, but they're going to give it up, and Fixa actually caught in a pretty poor position there. Gets picked up by Funny Astro, so Twisted Minds, they just need a quick little engage for the high ground, and you get a man advantage now, 5 versus 4. Let's see if they can close it out.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit too much, but the point gap still being pressured very heavily by VP. Quartz just barely slips away from that one, trying to put some damage down. Eisnom is still healthy on the point. Blue Fixa is back and trying to mix it up on the high ground. Opportunity for Shockwave, and he just barely can't get the finish. Jaewoo does find it, and Orisa has been just forcing the objective constantly the entire time. Gala, even without the second support, was able to stabilize that fight. And despite Psycho finding one, it's too little too late. VP, despite losing to Lucio, I mean, that's a painful loss to take early in the fight, and the fact that they're still able to hold on to the engagement is huge.
Yeah, that's a risk you risk running if you're Twisted Minds here. You're playing this Lucio Kiri with the Diva as well. Virtus.pro, they're happy to put a lot of pressure onto the point with the Orisa and Gala on the Batiste, a lot of healing to keep the tank up. So they buy enough time, and they put so much pressure onto the point that they're eventually able to poke down Twisted Minds and find the advantage. It's up to Twisted Minds here for the rotations to come through and maybe open things up against a bit more of a slower Virtus.pro comp.
Yeah, they have cleared out some of the angles. Opportunity for the bullet shot here. Goes into the backline. Baptiste is low. Forced to draw himself, but Jaewoo finds Funny Astro. High Noon fired off. Doesn't get a connection. Psycho with the pulse bomb is able to clean that one up with no drone to stabilize. Now Jaewoo has to solo stall this one out, but it seems like the flip is going to be coming through for Twisted Minds. They bring the pace. They clear out, crucially, that hookah lounge. And VP onto the outskirts of the point. Just don't have the position to sustain Eisnom.
Yeah, and this is where it gets tricky for Virtus.pro now, because you're playing this Orisa, you're playing this BAP. Realistically, I expect them to go inside here and let's try to get some kind of positioning, because Twisted Minds, they want to play out in the open here. They want to let Psycho cook. Jaewoo has a pulse bomb here, but going to be so much tough to get value from this one.
Big beat from Funny Astro, full aggression. They know Fix has died a couple times in this game. He doesn't have the beat up online. Eisnom, though, holding the line with the spin and has the fortify as well, so it's a great kite back from Virtus.pro, punishing that aggressive beat from Twisted Minds. And the pulse bomb, big connection. Can't say much. 2 with the bomb, though. How does he get that? It's a 2 for 2. Both teams low. Double support, though, for Shockwave. Has a ton of resources on this Cassidy. Could take a very aggressive peek in. For now, Quartz forced off the angle. Big headshot. Forces the recall from Tracer. And Virtus.pro, they want to strike when the iron is hot. Get anything that they possibly can. Funny Astro dancing around, but Gala there to punish him from behind the pillar. Psycho falls, too. The pressure from this Cassidy is pretty immense. Diva is back. Maybe going to try and take the fight back to Shockwave, but KSA doesn't have that much help to work with. Playing it slow. The point's still being stalled, though. Twisted Minds running up the score as much as they can, but Virtus.pro, inevitable. This BAP Cassidy, just a matter of time for them to take down the point in the low numbers engagement.
Yeah, it's a crazy pulse bomb from Jaewoo that actually evens it up after KSA's 2K self-destruct, and that just gives Virtus.pro enough picks to try to level out the 3 versus 3 fight, and they win it out because of that double support, like you said. Now, though, 60% against 60%. Virtus.pro double support ultimate, and they're gonna commit both, Jake.
It's a big beat. Funny Astro's low. KSA as well. They have to fall back. They have to try to regroup. Full HP for VP. The Ant Matrix as well, but they seem to have made it around the crucial corners, stabilizing in the face of a double support ultimate commitment. It's a very nice trade for Twisted Minds, but Jaewoo crucially finds Simple at the last moment. Now Twisted Minds 80% on the board against them. They know they need to make a play. They need to try to clutch this fight out. Shockwaves find Quartz with the High Noon. Funny Astro forced to retreat, and Twisted Minds just trying to regroup, trying to get back for one final touch on the point. Tracer should be able to make that happen, but Jaewoo's going to duel that flank before the fight even really begins.
And they're looking for picks here. Suspecting that Psycho's going to go for the touch here, contesting with KSA.
I think Psycho's touching from the other side.
To come in here.
Yeah, the Psycho grabs the touch from the other side. It's no problem. Kitsune Rush deployed on the point for Simple. And so giving Twisted Minds a nice early base. Big stick from Psycho. It's exactly what you needed. Forces the drone and still finds the kill. These players are incredibly low under the protection of the drone. And once it falls, so too will they. And now Eisnom fortified on the point, getting cleaned up. Psycho, hero play there, touching the point, forwarding into a pulse bomb. Big damage from that, even under the drone. And KSA helps find the cleanups.
Yeah, and Gala just, the drone wasn't in time for the pulse bomb. That's a crucial pick, courtesy of Psycho there on the Tracer. And now Virtus.pro, yes, they have a couple of ultimates here, but it's so tough. Funny Astro's gonna build a sound barrier here as well. Twisted Minds in a fairly comfortable position here if they can get value from this beat.
Last time Twisted Minds with the aggro beat, Virtus.pro just full kited back. They won't have that option if we get down to the overtime. How are they going to try to fight this out? Eisnom with the spin. Here's the beat now.
Hiding.
Sense the opportunity. They're trying to fall back off this play, and maybe they have a bit of time to come back in for the retake. KSA down out of the mech, speared by Eisnom, who's holding on to the position very well, low on cooldowns. Doesn't have that fortify, needs to just get those heals from Gala, but the point flip comes in for VP in the chaos. Psycho, though, takes down Gala. That's crucially taking the legs out from under this VP composition. Psycho with the second. Shockwave solo. Quartz shuts that one down, and somehow Twisted Minds, despite losing the Diva, the space was created, and Psycho strikes with ruthless efficiency, cleans this one up, and that's a very back and forth affair, but Twisted Minds gonna come out with the round.
Yeah, the damage player is looking fantastic for Twisted Minds and making a big difference right now. Virtus.pro, I think they played that composition quite well. They move around with the Cassidy, the BAP. They try to disengage from Twisted Minds when they do commit. And then they try to re-engage. Shockwave finding a couple of picks there on the Cassidy. But for the most part, Twisted Minds do a great job of maneuvering around this Cassidy BAP composition and then finding the picks necessary. Psycho, 12 and 2. This guy is on fire and was a huge difference maker in that round.
Jwoo is not far behind him though, 11 and 2, right? These tracers are going blow for blow. The damage is naturally going to be a little bit lower in the BAP comp. He has a more defensive role in this comp just to try to create space, but he's staying alive. He's finding those final blows. So both teams with some heavy hitters, and that's a round that could very much have gone the other way. A couple of those fights go differently. VP are going to up the tempo now, matching the Lucio Curie. They're going to bring out the Hazard as well, playing for some of this verticality. Hazard v Diva, but Shockwave on the Cassidy is a pretty bold choice here, especially against the Diva. We'll see if he's going to be able to make that work. Some success now being found for Cassidy in EMEA. But Eisnom's getting a free walk up here, potentially looking to find something. No, forced off the angle.
Yeah, Shockwave is naturally going to be a big target here for Twisted Minds, but for now, it's just about contesting this point. Poke through, see if you can find an opportunity here. See, wall dropped right now. KSA?
Cassidy's isolated. He's in a tough spot. He's caught, flanked from all sides. The flip comes in, but Twisted Minds have the bigger picture in mind. Trades coming in, though, from Jwoo. So both his scans down, and Virtus.pro relatively the healthier squad with point control. So managing to trade that one out well. Eisnom is low, though. This is a window now for the heavy repush to come out from Twisted Minds. They're trying to deny Eisnom from restoring back to that armor threshold. KSA low, running out of steam to continue this push. Simple, taking a bit of counter pressure as well. Now it's VP's turn for the counter punch, looking to swarm back over the point. Both teams going blow for blow, but this clock is just taking up for VP, and that's a big kill by Eisnom. Without Simple, you will not be able to sustain into a long fight. Eisnom stays alive, proving his worth to the squad.
Yeah, and Virtus.pro doing a great job playing the momentum back and forth game right there. Eisnom took quite a lot of damage there, but Twisted Minds without Quartz, Psycho, KSA, just not enough damage to get that frag onto Eisnom, and then Virtus.pro, when they recognize the steam, has run out for Twisted Minds to collapse back onto Twisted Minds and secure the fight when they're coming up on big ultimates here. Twisted Minds is slightly missing out on that sound barrier, but for the most part, this is going to be a 10 ultimate fight here, Jake.
Yeah, this is going to be a monster trade, probably for the round. Early High Noon trying to force something out. Shockwave's relatively a throwaway ultimate. Gets the speed boost as well. Forces all the position retreated now. KSA eats that one up, grabs a nice big shield for his benefit. Simple comes forward now with the rush, but a much better set of support ults here for VP. They're still hanging on to these support ultimates. Here's the strike back from Gala. Ult on the point, downpour, looks to find a connection, maybe on some of these crucial backliners. Funny Astro forced into the beat, pulse bomb, big damage onto Shockwave. He takes through everything. KSA dropping a little bit low, support ults running thin. Now players really have to risk their lives. KSA pushing very deep, has that self-destruct once he gets DMEC, drops that in aggressive position. Shockwave finds Psycho, but goes down. And time is ticking against you if you are Twisted Minds. VP still healthy. Jwoo, Eisnom on the point with both supports. Pulse bomb probably has KSA's name on it here. He's got to be so cautious. An opportunity finally strikes. Big connection from Jwoo. The DMEC comes in, and that should be VP taking round 2.
Both teams playing at a really high level here. Trading back and forth, trading ultimates, trading spam, trying to find any opening they can, but Virtus.pro able to hold on. You know, Twisted Minds, I think even in that fight, they had a really good set of conditions going their way. KSA pushes up to the point, but then Funny Astro built that sound barrier and dropped it at a perfect timing here.
Oh, the Curial.
Yeah.
The Curial blocked by the spiked wall. That's such a sick play from Eisnom. I mean, we've been talking about how do you come in to replace a player like Visola. This is how. This guy's been grinding. He's coming up with these big moments, big performances. These kitebacks from, I mean, this Twisted Minds is one of the best teams in the world at these like super aggressive Lucio rush pushes, and Virtus.pro is handling them. So right now, 1-1, it's all going to come down to this library stage, and Virtus.pro once again still on the Cassidy though. It's going to be maybe scary to contest the high ground, but Shockwave trades his life before going down. Maybe has done enough. Still healthy in the back line. Funny Astro not in such a strong position. Fixa fighting well with the group, and it seems like Twisted Mind's going to have to regroup out of this one. That's sort of the nature of Cassidy, right? Like, you're gonna die, but if you can take a couple players with you, you can deal the damage before you fall. Could be worth it.
Yeah, and it does seem like Virtus.pro, they're very confident in playing out these scrappy 4 versus 4 fights. So far, another fight where they get that early pick, Shockwave goes down, but they win it out because they're playing so well together. KSA now taking quite a bit of poke here. Actually pushed back quite a far amount. Suzu's going to be dropped from Simple. This is now Virtus.pro trying to apply pressure onto Twisted Mind. Psycho goes down.
Iznam is so low, but Shockwave's Jaywu, they strike first, and Iznam getting perfectly peeled by the team, goes just far enough to take all the aggression onto himself. Beautiful cleanse by Simple, right time with the reload, but it's just overwhelming. Those early kills from the DPS and Virtus.pro, putting them in a pretty decisive edge on this map, and the Hazard seems to have the edge in this matchup for now.
Yeah, and also Virtus.pro, they're playing their limits so well, right? Because Iznam is dropping low a few of these fights. Yeah. They're able to get away. They know exactly how much damage they can afford to take. Aggressive Deadeye coming through from Shockwave here. Shouldn't be able to get anyone picked here. Still buys enough time here for the rest of the team, and they're gonna fall back.
I mean, space created, right? Deadeye, you're not mad at that. And like literally running the clock for 10 seconds, it's decent value. And so once again, you're on the retake for Twisted Minds. See if they can get something done. We'll see if Simple can find that Kitsune Rush. Drops it across the point. Perfect cleanse, just barely came down in time. Response from Gala though, so even trades on the point. Both Lucios trying to hold on to that beat. Funny Astro just barely gets it off in the nick of time. Iznam didn't catch that beat. He's down in the lower, kind of in trouble. And yeah, KSA hunted that one down. So Virtus.pro just slightly off sync there. Iznam forced into the lower to grab a Mega and couldn't get the sound barrier. They're still trying to scrap this one out, but maybe Psycho just has a little bit too much purchase on the fight. KSA drops low, drops the low ground, grabs the Mega. Psycho cleans up Jaywu. The flip comes in for TM.
And the smallest difference makes a big difference here, actually. The fact that Iznam didn't get that sound barrier, that was pretty much the only thing that allowed Twisted Minds to close out that fight. That was the small little difference in favor of Twisted Minds, and now 20%. They got 3 ultimates on the board here. Let's see how they utilize them. Quartz, been a fantastic hit scan player. Here comes the bola shot.
Big bola shot in the backline. There's no D.Va to eat it, so Quartz really profiting. They're going to be able to win this fight with just the bola shot. Great start for Twisted Minds and running back this round. And the retake is where the Cassidy could be a bit of a liability, right? Like trying to walk up and turn those corners into the choke point. You really are vulnerable to getting jumped on. You really just cannot escape a D.Va turning the corner on you. So Shockwave's gonna have to really navigate this challenge perfectly. High Noon, it's something. It's an ult, sort of.
Split.
He's got a big channel though. Oh, and it doesn't get eaten. KSA forced into the self-destruct. The kills came in for VP elsewhere in the fight, so Shockwave baits the aggression on himself, uses the High Noon just to stay alive long enough, gets a big nuke of damage onto the tank, and VP gonna be grabbing this flip right back. Quartz fighting Jaywu was a nice kill, but won't be enough unless they can find some more. And Quartz just wants to live, wants to farm up that next bola shot, knows how powerful it is with no D.Va on the other side of the field.
Yeah, and Deadeye forces Twisted Minds to react. And KSA goes aggressive while the rest of the team falls back. So Twisted Minds are split up, and that is enough for Virtus.pro to capitalize on that. Getting a couple of fights to kick off the fight. Now, early rush from Gala.
Yeah, Iznam dives in deep, takes a lot of that. But Funny Astro very quick to pull the trigger on that speed boost, gets them out of trouble. 90%, so still enough time to come back in for the touch. It's a big fight there, opening for Twisted Minds, giving them a bit of an edge. Jaywu so deep, no recall, but still fighting with absolute fearlessness. Quartz doesn't get that beat, still trying to get into this fight, but Twisted Minds, it's good enough this time. They take down Shockwave, they take down Jaywu, and they're gonna be going once again towards those overtime fights. It feels like these two teams were meant to match up here.
Yeah, another great valuable beat for Funny Astro. Engage and Twisted Minds a clean house there. And as we approach this final fight, Jake, no support ultimates on either side. This is going to come down to the Tracers and maybe Iznam if he can make a difference on this Quartz. But this is time for Quartz to step up, yeah, with this bola.
This is all Quartz. Bola shot, relatively free here. It's basically only the cleanse is the response for it. Quartz has everything to do in this fight under a lot of pressure. He would love to get that stick, but he just barely dances away from it. Bola shot connects onto the back line, and it's just enough to take down Shockwave. Despite the cleanse, it's still not enough. And without a hit scan, who can take down Quartz? He's getting healthy once again. Twisted Mind's in a great position to close out this round. Pulse Bomb goes wide though. Eisnom dodges that one well. And Virtus.pro is still healthy. They're still continuing to fight on into this. Quartz doing his best to pump that damage. Eisnom trying to stay alive, getting flanked, hit from all sides. The Sports are doing everything to keep him up, but it's just not enough. The pressure overwhelming. Twisted Mind's in such an advantage now. Big shots from Shockwave coming back in, but he can't quite get enough to take down Quartz. KSA with a self-destruct can just full send this one on to Shockwave. No fear for his life. And now Jwoo desperately trying to stall it out. They have that Kitsune Rush on the point, giving them a bit more cooldowns, but Funny Astro finds one in the fight. KSA back in the mech, full suit. Simple drops the rush, beat available as well for Funny Astro, and you got a bit more delay left in you, Virtus.pro, but who's gonna find the kill? Who's gonna get you back into this? It's just impossible. Twisted Minds snatch this game back and take our opening map of the series, but I think, Johnny, from this one, we are in for a close matchup.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? We went down to literally the final fight of the map. Both series playing at their absolute best right now, trading back and forth. I think it was beautiful, the way both teams, they play slightly different styles with the D.Va, the Hazard, but they're still trading momentum back and forth and trying to make these big plays that make the big difference in the fights here. So yeah, both teams, they're looking real good going into this match, Jake.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff, especially I think Quartz really started to heat up toward the end of that third round, and that's exactly what you were hoping for if you're a fan of Twisted Minds, right? You want to see Quartz be that superstar for the squad, be a huge problem, especially on the Freya. And Shockwave, I mean, we've seen a couple teams now start to look a little bit more towards the Cassidy, and I'm starting to see why. I'm starting to see the vision, right? Especially with Bath being a little bit more in the meta. Cassidy is just that old classic stand and deliver character that is a real problem in these fights. If you can't deal with him, he's going to deal with you.
Yeah, and I think it lends itself to some of these maps, like the one we're watching here on Garden, for example. Yeah, you can kind of like kite away and, you know, see if you can get some picks on Cassidy. But I'm also worried that maybe if you commit too hard on the Cassidy, it actually allows Twisted Minds to identify a target for them to engage upon. And I think they dealt with Shockwave quite nice there. At least if you're playing the Freya, you know, Freya has so much mobility in hand that it's hard to punish a Freya that much. So we'll kind of see how this series develop, but for now, VP rocking with the Cassidy. We'll see if they stick with it for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of maps to play here. I think both these teams are not limited to these comps, right? He's choosing to bring out the Cassidy because he thinks that's the best tool for the job in that spot, that situation, this matchup. And we'll have to see, of course, where VP decide to take it. You have a lot of power here with the map pick, especially, I mean, is there ever a world, do you want to go to a Vistola poke map? I gotta say, Eisnom look great to me. Like, I do not think, I would not criticize Eisnom. I feel like they can tango with Twisted Minds in the speed comp, and I think they actually need to be able to do that if they want to win the series. I don't think you're winning this trying to play slow the whole time. So there's a world where you just double down and you say, like, let's run it back with one more speed mirror and let's just like play that tempo. Maybe you can get a Lucio ban over the line this time.
Right, but at the same time, I feel like Virtus.pro, obviously that's a great boon for them, being able to play those fast-paced compositions. Eisnom's looking good, but the fact you can go to a map like Circuit Real, sub in Vistola, you can force some of these slower kind of compositions, you know, Gala, flex over to the Alari. I feel like you have to capitalize on this opportunity while you can in the series, so it makes a lot of sense for me for Virtus.pro to go to Circuit Real early in the series. You know that's one of your best picks, but they're actually going to pick Dorado instead. Wow, I think this is a really interesting pick coming through from Virtus.pro here.
Eisnom, baby, maybe. Unless they go with like a Vistola D.Va with a Winston ban. There's another sort of a thought here. Although I'm not sure how good the Winston ban is on this map with options like Hazard and Ball to kind of replace him. Could bring out the Widows here. Also, I think this is kind of like one of the best Widow maps in the pool. But maybe Freya is just a little too good in that matchup to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, and I'm actually, I don't think Virtus.pro has actually played Dorado all stage, so they choose to bring it out here against Twisted Minds, and Vistola is going to come in, which, you know, we don't know Vistola versus Winston, so it's going to lean more onto that D.Va, right? That's kind of what you expect. I fully agree with you. But still, though, I feel like when this roster kind of came together, Virtus.pro, right? You were kind of looking at Dorado as one of the maps where you'd kind of want to take them to, because you see at Vistola's hero pool and you're thinking, well, of course we'd want to force Virtus.pro to play a dive map when they have a player like Vistola who prefers these slower tanks. But instead they pick it here against Twisted Minds as a comfort pick.
I actually kind of like this. In my opinion, after the rework, this is a better D.Va map than a Winston map. I think Winston's not as good as he used to be on this map. And I think for me, actually, there's a comp that I believe Florida Mayhem was like the first team I saw play it consistently, and I just fell in love with it. I think it's like the broken comp on this map is the Brig Bap Diva for like a hit scan tracer or whatever you kind of want to fill on DPS. Probably a tracer always, and then maybe a Torb. Like maybe you get silly with it, but for the most part, I think that's actually a rock solid trio, and Brig and Bap is definitely in the meta right now. I'm kind of seeing the vision. It's going to be up to VP what they want to do with on the bans, but I wonder, like, do you even need to ban a Winston? Maybe you ban, is it crazy? You could ban like an Ana, you could ban, I guess maybe you want to protect the D.Va, so maybe you do need to ban the Winston or the Hazard. I'd almost rather see a Hazard ban if that's not too crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because obviously they're going into this map with a plan, and then you're trying to figure out, well, what are Twisted Minds going to play on Dorado in response? So I think this is one of the maps I'm least willing to predict what compositions we're going to see, because I think it's truly a little bit up in the air here. Virtus.pro, though, I feel like their team, it favors a map like this as well, with Gala and Fixa in the back line. You can play the slower composition. So they're actually going to ban the Ana, which allows Twisted Minds to ban Vistola's D.Va. So yeah, I guess you're playing the Hazard perhaps then?
Yeah, these bans look like a Hazard set to me. Like it looks like without Ana, it feels like who's gonna deal with the Hazard. But also, I mean, what replaces? I think Bat Brig is, maybe you can still play Bat Brig, but what does Vistola play? It's kind of a tougher question.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least the Ana is banned, like you said, so it's going to prevent sleep darts and stuff like that too. To put a crux in things here. Well, we'll have to see what they roll out with here. I love the idea of playing the Brig Bap, like you said. A lot of teams, they've started to integrate Baptiste more and more every week, I feel like, because it started out and we saw some Bap in both regions, and I'm thinking, okay, you can shoehorn this in when the Kiriko gets banned and stuff like that. But now it feels like Bap is here to stay, and the question is, like, how do you build around the Baptiste instead? So if Virtus.pro, they truly bring out like a Baptiste comp here, I think that kind of just proves that Baptiste is more viable than ever has in Overwatch 2. It's been a while for that hero. So
Ram comp, okay, Twisted Minds, they're kind of cooking with this one. So we got a quick pause, see if we're able to resolve any kind of tech issues shortly, of course, before the map gets underway. And I mean, I'm kind of glad we got to see those comps. Ram on the defense is interesting to me. I guess, like, you don't need verticality as much as you did before, but I still kind of prefer heroes with some vertical mobility. That choke point's going to be crucial for TM to make the hold. They really need to lock it down on that first point choke, but then KSA can always swap over to the Hazard or something with some more vertical options for second and third.
Yeah, I'm not a big Ramatra fan on Dorado. I do think it's interesting as well, Twisted Minds, to bring out the Juno Kiriko, which I love. It's hard to punish that combo position given what Vistola's hero pool and the fact you banned the D.Va there as well. So Twisted Minds, they're bound to get a lot of value, I think, from their Juno Kiriko. And the question for Virtus.pro then becomes, like, how do you play around that, right? So
it's funny because I feel like a Lucio Kiri Winston would actually go crazy hard into the defender comp, but I don't know. That's the thing, like you're sort of daring Vistola to play the Winston, and he has before. That's always been like something they've strayed away from for good reason, because Vistola historically was just like such an elite off tank player back in Overwatch 1, right, in the 2-tank meta. So I'm curious. I think this is kind of like the balls in your court, VP. You could go for the strategic edge, or you could go for the comfort picks, and it's hard to say what's better. I feel like in this era, maybe teams are going to lead a little bit more on comfort with hero bans. That tends to feel to me more significant than like the perfect comp.
Yeah, I feel like especially in this day and age and this kind of meta as well, I feel like Virtus.pro, like they're coming into this map with a plan and something they feel really comfortable with, something they've practiced a lot, and it's going to be up to Twisted Minds in how do they kind of react to that, because obviously, Virtus.pro, Smash is a fantastic coach for that team, has done such a great job with this roster, right? So
it's like with the Ana ban, you had to have seen the D.Va ban coming, right? Like you just
exactly
you just knew,
Smash
right?
Is just so smart. So
we're just gonna re-up the map.
Okay.
Here. I guess that's fine. Doesn't really make any difference at all. What if VP just run Zen Mercy?
Dude, we've seen some more Mercy in the last couple of weeks.
YOLO.
I'm just like,
kill them before they kill you, bro.
Some damage heroes are good, like Freya, just damage boost to Freya. Like, okay.
Low-key, I can see the vision on Mercy on this map. don't know about the Zen though. He's gonna be. You might be having a bad day on Zen with the Mercy trying to heal you against Psycho, but I can see the vision with like a Mercy pocketed Freya. That sounds like kind of wild, but I kind of like it.
I think Quartz here, especially, you know, with the D.Va band, it kind of frees up Quartz even more on this Freya to have a big impact in this game. You said in map 1, Quartz really heated up, and as we see Virtus.pro, they're going to swap over to Lucio Bap with the Hazard here.
Interesting.
Go on offense.
I don't mind it.
Cassidy, yeah. At the same time,
I don't mind it personally. I mean, you're going to get a lot of cart push. Like, who's going to stop the cart? I guess KSA will, and Quartz is just going to kill Gala. Well, that's looking a little scary, right? Like, dominating the high ground. That's kind of the weakness of this style from VP. They really don't have much high ground contest.
I guess when I see these compositions, I'm looking at Twisted Minds, and they're kind of allowed to pick Virtus.pro apart. Yeah, they'll have a lot of strength when it comes to pushing the cart and stuff like that, but Quartz could have a field day in securing some of these picks.
We were doubting the Ram comp, but like, talk about a dream matchup for Ram. Like, this is a cart that is kind of just going to run into you on the payload, and Ram loves nothing more than to get, you know, face tanked on the payload, and it looks like he's going to be able to get exactly that matchup. Virtus.pro maybe going to try to make a move up to the high ground, take an alternate angle. Speed ring attempted on the low ground. Now Shockwave in position to maybe get something done, but he's got to find some kind of a connection. Cart is not rolling here, and time is ticking against you. Bakala finds Quartz. That's a big opener. Shockwave in position, gets a second, looking to just clean this fight up. He's not even going to finish that kill. Going to go back to the cart.
Yeah, and it's
KSA just tanking it up.
From Virtus.pro, as KSI is going to go down, like you said here. It's more of this style where Virtus.pro, they're playing this Lucio Bap Cassidy, and they're kind of moving around the map, trying to take some kind of map advantage and then utilize that to find picks on Twisted Minds. So it's kind of map agnostic now. They brought this out on Oasis, of course, and look comfortable doing it. Now they're bringing up this trio on Dorado. This is their preferred playstyle going into this series.
The question is Pistola, though, coming in cold off the bench, how's he going to perform in this style? Right? They were playing this before, but they're doing it with Eisnom, and so begs the question, why change? Maybe there's some options Pistola can bring out on the defense or in different spots on the map. KSA struggling so far, though, on the Ramatra to tank through. Very, very low, takes a ton of support just to stay alive, uses all of his cooldowns. Hainu now forced. Shockwave cancels, looks for the flash. It's a very heads-up dodge, though, by Psycho in that backline, taking a bit of attention on himself. This Ant Matrix is becoming a problem for the defense. Beat comes down, KSA low on skills, pops that form, though, and just holding in the corner, just tanking up. You just cannot deal with this Ramatra in that position. Quartz getting every single heal from Simple. Very nice care there from the backline, keeping Quartz alive. Unbelievable that Jaywu gets a kill through all that, but it's still just not enough. The rest of the team did enough. Quartz had time to work his magic.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, this kind of becomes Twisted Minds. You know, if we're trying to apply playstyles here, it becomes them picking apart Virtus.pro before they're able to rotate in time. And this is one of those spots where Virtus.pro, it's a little bit tricky for them to get the space required to open things up, get picks. They're going to swap over to the Kirk, who are abandoning the Baptiste here. So this leaves their composition a bit more vulnerable. I'm kind of worried for Shockwave here now.
Yeah, Cass is honestly just not a good hero into Ramatra, right? He's so strong at face taking Cassidy's damage. There's not really a way to hit from an alternate angle on Cassidy. And so KSA is kind of making mincemeat of them. He has ultimate now. He's looking to get a little bit aggressive here. Pops into the backline, zones everyone else away. Pistola is completely in alone by himself. And of course he's going to go down. Even commits the ultimate, a bit of off sync there. So coming in off the bench is looking a little rough for him right now. And KSA is just absolutely running it down on VP. I mean, full court aggression. Pistola going to go over to the Orisa. But this is final fight, and Quartz is going to come over the top like a ton of bricks with this bola shot.
Yeah, and Twisted Minds are getting a ton of value from their composition. Like we talked about Ramatra, of course, contesting the card. But Juno and Kiriko have been completely uncontested this entire game. Quartz as well with a bola shot here as well, going to pop it. And they get a pick on the Shockwave with 15 seconds to go, Jake. This could just be it. This could be the perfect defense for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, it looks like the full hold is coming in. I mean, Pistola just has no HP left. Pulse Bomb goes wide for Jaywu, and you took us to Dorado. We had hope for some kind of wild strat, and instead it's Twisted Minds who just read this pick perfectly, and the D.Va ban, it felt like it took everything away from VP. They really just barely get any kind of push into this map. And I just can't, I mean, for VP, it's like I can't wrap my head around that comp into the defensive Ramatra. I think I see that comp if the defenders are playing a more mobile tank, and you could like punish that tank's mobility, you push them off the cart, you push the cart little by little, but that comp, like Bap and Cassidy, can't get behind Ramatra. They just don't do it. And to me, that's it's kind of a poor strategic choice for this map, or at least for the matchup that Twisted Minds brought you.
Yeah, it's so tough when you play the BAP Cassidy, because what is your win condition there when you're thinking about that position in the middle of the point to end cap point 1 there? Like, the Ramatra is going to contest the payload, and then what? Are you looking for the Cassidy to get a pick on the Freya? It's almost like you want to speed through the house and like rotate onto the enemy team and open things up that way, but the Ramatra is going to be in your face.
It's just Dorado, like speeding past the tank on Dorado. It's just not happening.
No,
right?
you have to like rotate around, but even so, there's like not enough space on this point to rotate around and try to.
Right, it just feels like why wouldn't you play your own Kiriko and your own Freya and like come over the wall, come over, hit the back line, ignore the Ramatra.
Exactly.
It's just the heroes you have can't do the job you're looking for. VP, though, I think maybe this is what they wanted to play, is this like defensive setup where I actually do like this strat on defense, like it's very strong. However, Twisted Minds now, they have so many opportunities to work with, right? Only needing to get like not even to the end of first point. It's an amazing spot to be. And I mean, like 1 pick or 2 picks from Quartz could just seal the deal on this map. And that's an unenviable spot to be. No matter how good your strat is, there's always the chance that Quartz just open things up on you.
So Shockwave now over to the Freya here on this defense. This is where Shockwave really needs to step up and make the magic happen, because you're looking at your Risa, the BAP rig, like they only have so much impact into this game. But so it's going to contest this point, but it's up to the damage player or Virtus.pro to open things up, and Jay was going to kick it off with a pick on the Quartz.
That's very big. However, it's not going to mean much strategically, right? It does take a little bit of the wind out of the sails, but Card is rolling forward. Like, Twisted Minds are getting what they need out of this fight. Quartz is right back into the fight. It just doesn't change much at all. And VP are kind of just on this defense. They're trying to peek aggressively from the high ground, but Ramatra is just tolerating all that pressure beautifully. And now they're forced back, defending the choke point. Twisted Minds, if they want to take the high ground, they can grab it right now. And, I mean, KSA is just walking it up mid. He's so tanky. He's getting a ridiculous amount of heals from these supports.
Yeah, again, they're playing the Juno Kiriko or Twisted Minds, and they're getting so much value. They're going to build these ultimates. Gala's going to pop the amplification matrix, but this is Virtus.pro making their final stand.
Shockwave through the amp matrix finds Simple. It's a big connection. Could mitigate some of the threat from this continued offense. Quartz trying to trade it back, but just not quite enough damage. Gala with the regenerative burst is going to stabilize through this. That's a very, very massive pick, I think, from Shockwave, right? If you don't find that onto Simple, you're in dire straits. And honestly, Simple kind of gave that one up, right? Could have just waited out the amp matrix. But I mean, it's a scary spot, right? Like that. I think that amped shot is just a one-hit kill from Freya. So it's a pretty scary prospect. That amp matrix Freya is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think realistically, all these fight wins for the pro, okay, that's fine. You know, you took a minute of the time or whatever. The big fight is going to be when Twisted Minds have built the orbital rank, the Kitsune Rush. That is going to be a monumentous task for Virtus.pro to live through that. It's going to be Twisted Minds' best bet at winning this one. And Psycho's working the off angle. Oh, and Quartz down. This is terrible news for EP.
Pulse bomb from Jwoo does find Quartz back though. So Freya's off the board. Now Psycho looking to get him with a pulse bomb of his own. He's here in the back with Simple. He's got support in this position. Just barely Gala though. Dodges that one away. Rally comes in to potentially deal with this push into the back line with Simple's ultimate. Funny Astro's low. Has Ray online but got stunned just a little bit too early. It's a nice pick from Pistola. And once again, Twisted Minds getting cleaned up. Virtus.pro holding on to this map. I mean, I think this is why they brought out this draft. Why they brought Pistola into the game is for the defense. And despite a weak attack, there's still a chance to win this one back. As you mentioned, I agree that Kitsune Rush is a key part of the offensive strategy. However, Orbital Ray can serve much the same function, so you're not out of the woods yet if you're Virtus.pro.
But still, that was kind of the fight though. But Funny Astro didn't have the Orbital Ray in time, and there was no point in even using it. This now, 1 minute to go. Funny Astro has the Orbital Ray, but Virtus.pro are looking pretty with the amplification matrix. This is now allowed Virtus.pro to make a good stand on this defense and survive.
Oh, KSA in trouble, got boot back away from that. Is ulting, but it's a big spin from Pistola right in the center of the team. 2 kills.
Oh my god.
50 seconds on the clock. Twisted Minds, you got to reset fast. This one is over. One more chance, and I mean, you got nothing left in the tank. You got to do a dry fight, and there's always a chance with somebody like Quartz on the team. You know, we can make something happen. 40 seconds is a while to work with, but with no ultimates, I would so much rather be this VP team. Psycho has secured himself his position in the back. I kind of like the Zarya, actually. I kind of think this is kind of a sick last-second swap. If you maybe the time can turn against Virtus.pro if this Zarya gets energized.
Yeah, still though. Virtus.pro.
Quartz with Shockwave. Oh no, that's so rough. And Pistola getting heavily pressured. needs to get a lot of heals from the supports. Drone forced, so is the Fortified. They're running out of defensive skills to hold on to this position, and the energy is starting to come in. Jay with the pulse bomb could be the hero for the squad. Psycho is incredibly low, but just barely stays alive. Big pulse connection though on supports, takes him off the field. KSA though, high energy, and maybe he'll be the last man standing. Still full HP on the Zarya, getting the support, finding 2 kills already. Jay-Woo desperate to take a support down, but they're dancing so well. The bubble, surely the final nail in the coffin. Twisted Minds barely are gonna snatch this one back. The heads up Zarya pick puts them up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, it's a great start pick that gets them across the finish line, but man, the Twisted Minds, they played with fire, Jake. That got way too close for comfort, and I really do think that they messed up when they had the Kitsune Rush and the Orbital Ray, that one fight, and they just couldn't layer them. They couldn't get enough value from those ultimates, and it put them in a really risky position to get full held by Virtus.pro, but Twisted Minds, they just barely get across the finish line because of a beautiful pick from Quartz, but that was way harder than it needed to be for TM.
Yeah, I think both teams kind of made the same mistake. Both teams let the defense have like a better slow fighting comp than them on attack. But once the Zarya came out, right, the energized Zarya, it's just too late for Vestola to swap, right? He's committed, he's on defense. And I mean, that's the price you pay. If you had a little bit more mileage to work with, as far as time to give up on the point, you could lose first point and come back on second. You'd be in a better spot, but their lackluster offense put them in that position, and TM were able to capitalize. I gotta say, by the way, Quartz continuing to find openers right when the team needs them, right? Like there's so much pressure on you on that moment as a hitscan player. Everybody kind of knows, like, it's a little bit up to you to find something to make that possible, to allow the rest of the team to find the confidence to push through the choke and pick their moment. And Quartz delivers time and time again. That's maybe the scariest thing of all for VP right now. Down 2-0 in the series, and one of the scariest threats in the opposing team on one of the best heroes in the meta is just only getting better.
Yeah, this is a really scary situation now for VP. You're down 2-0 in this series. You got a reverse sweep, and I think there's playstyle of the Cassidy BAP that we saw them bringing out on offense. I feel like it's kind of been exposed. I guess on Oasis, like it looked fairly even. It looked fairly even. They were very competitive with Twisted Minds, but yeah, it was also, as you say, fraudulent game mode. So maybe I shouldn't read into that. But I feel like VP are now in a spot where they need to bring out the composition that plays better into Twisted Minds, because I don't think they've been able to find enough momentum playing this Cassidy BAP comp.
Well, I think Twisted Minds have shown their versatility, right? Which is that they've shown 2 very different styles. Oasis, they were playing full tempo, and it was VP who are playing the slower comp, where they can kind of survive out with the Cassidy and the BAP and clutch those fights, because you're bringing so much aggression, right? With the Lucio carry diva, you're diving in every fight, you're trying to get kills really quick. And BAP and Cassidy, maybe they sustain through and they win a lot of those fights, right? It's a very close map 1. Map 2, though, it's a complete switch, and all you do is just bring out the Juno and the Ram, and now the Ram is just this unkillable object. Your BAP and Cassidy are constantly blocked by Ram, permanently shooting shields or the super resistant Ram block. And I think VP were just too slow to adapt. Like Twisted Minds, just, okay, we're gonna change the pace on you on map 2, and they profit immensely from it. I love that KSA has that intelligence to pick the Zarya there. It wasn't an obvious pick. I didn't see it either. And that he picked, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's so smart in this final moment. Is exactly what you need. And of course, he's such a confident hero, or player rather, on that hero. Runasapi will be the next pick for VP. This is gonna be the start of a long comeback, but you're facing down back-to-back Twisted Minds map picks. Too big of a task to contemplate right now. It's just about Runasapi. Do VP put Eisnon back in? I mean, this seems like a more dynamic map, maybe one where his skill set is more applicable.
So when they've gone to Runasapi in the past, they've actually played the Orisa with the Juno Brig and just gone like full brawl. And if that's something you want to do now, we recognize we don't want to play the Lucio BAP anymore, we want to play the Cassidy. That seems quite reasonable. But I do think Twisted Minds have a pretty good opportunity here, if that were to be the case, to throw out a ban that will make it difficult for VP. I think VP, they probably have to protect ban the tank here if they want to play the Orisa, which could open the door for Twisted Minds to ban something like a Brig. Because I don't think Twisted Minds, they're necessarily tied to this Brig. They can play the Lucio Kiri if they want to as well, and I think that would put VP in a pretty tough spot.
I'm worried VP need to ban the Lucio though, because if you want to play the Juno Brig Orisa, don't you have to ban Lucio Kiri because they just kite you and just shoot you with their knives and stuff, and you just slowly die on Orisa? I mean, maybe that matchup doesn't. I've seen like the Lucio Kiri defeat these Brig Juno comps on this map just by like kiting you. It feels like you can just run away forever with Lucio, and the Orisa kind of runs out of gas. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see how these teams, what their vision of the meta is right now, going into what could be the decisive map of the series. Hopefully not for Virtus.pro fans.
So the bans actually just came in, and we'll have them on the graphics for you momentarily. But it's going to be VP banning the Zarya, actually, which I think protects Bandit.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. You're right. They protect the Orisa.
Telegraph you that you play the Orisa as well. But Twisted Minds are going to ban the Baptiste as well. So they maybe recognize that VP has been playing some of this Cassidy BAP style, and they don't want them to do that. Still, though, is that really necessary on Runasapi? I'm not quite sure.
Well, I think if you were, I mean, I think a BAP probably is more in the meta right now for an Orisa comp than the Juno Brig, because I think BAP does give you that massive infusion of heals, and it's super easy to constantly heal the Orisa. There's just like such a natural synergy between those characters. So this says to me that Twisted Minds want to up the pace, maybe not aggressively, but just like to be the more mobile team with something like a Lucio carry style. That I think is probably their best look as a team. They could go for the Juno carry too if they wanted to really play those long fights, but then without Zarya, I'm not sure what tank you're gonna play to get the edge over the Orisa. You could just mirror, but a lot of options here for both squads, I think.
Yeah, and I think I don't know what you think about this, Jake, but I feel like on a map like Runasapi as well, like playing the Juno carry, I think it's a little bit tougher than in a situation like Dorado, where you know that the backline is going to be free to do their kind of thing. Like, I don't think at any point on Dorado, Twisted Minds were worried about their backline being under pressure. Whereas here, I feel like on a Runasapi, it's a bit more narrow. You maybe want to go with a more defensive kind of like Brig or something like that. But they're going to play the Juno carry. Okay. We've seen them do this in the past as well. So not a huge surprise.
All right, is it time for the Illari to come out? Page out of OWCS book.
Gala, let's do it.
It's not crazy. I also don't hate the Malga, but I think it's maybe a little bit of a bait. Yep.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
I mean, the unstoppable force of Orisa against the immovable object Ram. Kind of an interesting matchup. I think Gala, though, if he can stay alive on this Illari, should give like the poking edge to Virtus.pro. But it's a scary. Do you want to take a poke fight against Quartz right now? That's a tough call to be making here. I wouldn't feel so good about that. Although Gala can maybe a hit scan to shoot back up at that Freya.
Oh, wow.
Simple, though, already finds Gala. And I mean, without your Illari, you're in a pretty rough spot. Simple kills another. Simple.
Oh, wait a minute.
Here we go. Dude has hands. He's the GOAT. He just killed both of them on the flank. Psycho's like, all right, bro, like, you do you, man. Psycho was like dipping out of that fight. He was like, nah, bro, I'm out of CDs. Like, good luck, TP out of that one. And Simple just said no, put his foot down.
Yeah, and credit to Twisted Minds, like immediately recognizing the difference in playstyle and Simple pressing the gas pedal.
Oh, not the Cassidy, Johnny. Not here. Not against Kiri Judo. Oh, I don't like this. Wow. Maybe Shockwave can prove me wrong. This looks super scary to me to be playing Cassidy. There's so many long-range heroes. And it's a naturally kind of a longer range map. Maybe he can replicate some of the success Exodial had. Ramform already comes out for KSA, doesn't really get much out of it. Quartz, though, finds Fixa. It's a big pickup on the Judo. Solo healing on Illari is an unenviable position to be. There's no resources left for Vastola. Shockwave falls in the chaos. And Simple, just healthy, keeping Quartz alive. And this map is getting very far out of control.
Virtus.pro, Jwoo, Tracer naturally, is the only hero to have over like 57% ult charge. Virtus.pro have done nothing this map.
Did you just say that because Shockwave had 56, bro?
Yes. I was gonna say 50, but then you kept talking and it built to 56. But Twisted Minds, they have the ultimates. They have the Kitsuru Rush. Twisted Minds, they could snowball here real quickly.
This comp is sus, Johnny, and they're gonna try to make it work. Shockwave is low, kiting back from the rush. Pistola left out to dry. Cart continuing to roll forward here. Funny Astro just diligently pushing that one away. Psycho marking the flank. Shockwave being run down, dead to rights. Does find Simple, though. It's a trade. Nice headshot from the Cassidy. Does take one of those supports away, and the spawns are very far away from Twisted Minds. Jwoo killing Psycho. Okay, this should be the end of the push, but Twisted Minds are probably just going to stick around and get every last meter that they can. Maybe KSA will try to dip out of this one. With Alpha Funny Astro, the speed rings should be able to get him out and back to the team, but 107 meters is a very strong lead to start the map off with. Shockwave, there's no stuns in the comp, right? So it could be a good comp for the High Noon to get some value.
Yeah, again, though, if I'm Twisted Minds, like, I don't really care about Virtus.pro composition. Okay, Deadeye, I'm gonna kite this real quick.
He's just gonna block this. He's gonna soak it. Yeah, I mean, you have to shoot with the spear. And it's a orbital ray now comes out from Fixa. This is your moment, Shockwave. He's got to find a kill here, got to find some kind of a connection. He feels that pressure himself in the corner. Ilari ult as well, trying to get something done. KSA tanking it up in the corner, but the pulse bomb just overwhelms the HP bar. And Vistola takes down Psycho. So surely, with the big dump of ultimates, Virtus.pro, it cost them 4, but they finally get that fight win.
Yeah, that was a huge dump of ultimates, dropping both your support ultimates, Shockwave, the Cassidy.
Oh, good late kill on the courts too.
As well. Yeah, that actually is great, because you're going to get some additional push here, but realistically, you know, we talk about this every push map, Jake. The fact now that Twisted Minds have a 108-meter lead, that's going to give them this advantage where they could just play the ultimate economy game and they should be okay. They're going to go for a bit of a rotate here, play the more narrow street phase with this orbital ray.
Yeah, they're taking the fight to Virtus.pro, who are very squishy, very vulnerable to some flanks, but Gala wins the fight this time against Simple. That's a crucial duel to be trading positively on. Twisted Mind still going to commit here. They have the ultimate advantage, but the kills are going against them. Despite the orbital ray, Virtus.pro up 5-3, tolerating the fight well. Vistola quick to go back on the offense, wants to run down KSA while his cooldowns are waiting. Twisted Minds have stolen the buff back, but will that be enough? Funny Astro dancing well, but attracting too clean from Vistola. Psycho does find Shockwave. KSA still fighting, but ultimately just not enough resources. No supports left. KSA just barely manages to slip out, though, and I think with the help of Simple, should be able to disengage this one.
But again, I feel like Twisted Minds, you know, messing that up, Simple dying early. They're kind of letting Virtus.pro back into this series now. Still, though, they don't have positioning enough for their Ilari, so that's going to be a big advantage for Twisted Minds if they can hold this corner and not allow Gala to get the perfect angles.
No connection from Psycho's pulse bomb. Looks like a big fight on the flank. Two tanks just butting heads on each other. Trying to get a little bit of damage to Esports. Shots going wide for now. The dancing too good from Fixa, but Psycho finds Gala. Simple drops as well. One support off the field for both sides. Virtus.pro a little bit healthier. That pulse from Jwoo is going to make matters worse now for Twisted Minds. No front line to speak of. And they're trying to back off this one again. Quartz, that's a nice shot though onto Jwoo. Probably going to deter the aggression for the moment. Twisted Minds, though, was each fight they lose, they haven't been fully cleaned off the map, and so they're able to get the refight in a little bit quicker. Don't know if you have a touch here. Psycho just barely makes it in time. It's so close, just a little bit too far for KSA to cross the gap. Shockwave still healthy, still fighting this one out. Orbital Ray commits. They want to hold Shockwave into this position, but it's a scary spot to peek, even with the Ray. Damage is coming in against him now. Gala, though, finds Psycho and hold on. This Ilari starting to get some purchase in the map. Vistola with the spin. Big damage down. Gala with another, the triple. The Ilari finally gets her day in the sun here. Wow. And it looks like a full team wipe there. Gala, massive final blows. And, I mean, they're really bringing it right back. Virtus.pro still have the confidence in the team comp, and it looks to be well placed.
Yeah, when Twisted Minds don't have positioning, they're really struggling to get some kind of, you know, into these fights. That fight, for example, like KSA just kind of getting beaten down on the point. Virtus.pro, they open things up with his pick composition, and now they got a captive Sun. They're gonna go aggressive, see if they can hit anyone. Not for the Tracer, surely. Well, you had to go for something.
Some shots on Gala's back here. He's just marking the flankers, ready for the possibility of a Tracer. Shield online for Vistola. Bola shot, zones some people off the corner. Funny Astro is able to kill Shockwave with the supports pushed away. Trying to get anything you can on Vistola, but without the Fortify, you're going to be going down very quickly. Drops the shield, though, so it's keeping him up for just a moment longer. But the skill's running low. Psycho focus firing the tank. Big shots from Quartz, followed up by KSA with a Ravenous Vortex. You're all just trying to trade out something here for Virtus.pro, but I'm not sure Jwoo is going to be able to get anything done. Twisted Minds sticking with the Ream. I would love to see Twisted Minds like bring out like a diva here. Would be like the dream pick for me, but KSA still sticking with the Ram. Just wants to hold all that frontline pressure that Orisa would otherwise be putting on other players.
Yeah, and 3 meters is all the difference right now. Twisted Minds got double support ultimate going into this next fight. If Twisted Minds play flawlessly from here on out, they should be able to close out this map. What can Virtus.pro do to really shake things up and try to get a pick?
Oh, big flank jump here from Shockwave. Big headshot. It's going to cost him his life, but it could be a worthwhile trade here. KSA, the ultimate expiring, got kited away. Simple, the solo healer for the team now. Flankers need to find something. Kitsune Rush comes in. Simple is immediately stunned. Vistola wants to put the pressure back the other way. Getting a little bit of support now from the healers. Both tanks, though, just bashing heads against each other. It seems like it's going to be the flankers who can profit from that kind of a trade. Neither tank really has the wherewithal to shut the other one down. And Psycho, though, fighting a little bit more in this fight. And Vistola, ultimately, without his supports, falls, crumbles. The bot has been stolen incredibly far by Jwoo, and that's going to kind of snatch any of the momentum away from Twisted Minds despite the fight win.
Still, though, Twisted Minds, they invested double support ultimate that fight, so looking at Virtus.pro, they're going to have the orbital ray coming up here. So Virtus.pro, if they can win this fight, They're actually giving themselves a real good opportunity to snatch this lead. Psycho on the flank.
Oh,
Nice pick
that
up
was
Gala.
sick. So clean from him and Simple hitting the back flank. Fixes it with the Ray, making this possible. Virtus.pro need to find a couple kills before the Ray expires. Jaywu with one, Shockwave with a second. That's exactly what they needed. Psycho with the stick. Is it enough? Does he have the roll? Just barely takes through it with the roll. Getting the heals. Shockwave dancing with death here. And coming away the better. Psycho forced back, has to try to retreat out of this. I'm not sure he's going to be able to escape being hunted down. Has a few blinks, so maybe he can slip away. The recall force out as well, taking a ton of attention to himself.
Time, yeah.
Very sick dodging to stay alive in that spot.
Gala here is coming up on a captive Sun. 1 minute to go, Jake. Stakes are high here. Virtus.pro down 2-0 in this series. They need to win this map to remain alive in the series. And Jaywu is just coming up clutch on the Tracer, fighting 2 on the Twisted Minds.
Jaywu and Gala just hitting the back flank, and Lari getting so active in this match. And Twisted Minds got to hold on to this lead. They need to make this next fight happen. But I mean, it's going to be tenuous. Are they even going to be able to touch? Yeah, the lead's going to go against them. And with so little time on the clock, this could be Virtus.pro grabbing their first map of the series. One last chance for Twisted Minds to respond, but it's going to be a long journey back to the other side of the map if they can even win here.
So if you can sustain these ultimates coming in from Virtus.pro, Twisted Minds actually do have the ultimate economy. But 40 seconds to go, one fight at a time. You got to live through this.
Lariel looking for a connection. Does, I think, hit one, but no follow-up to get the explosion on the Sun. Pistola very low, falling back with the lead they've already generated. They're not in a huge rush to fight. Pistola looks to have picked his angle here on this corner. Quartz finding that open artist Shockwave is huge, though. The damage really going to be lacking from the Virtus.pro squad without the Cassidy. It's up to maybe Gala to find something. He's fighting out on the flank, has that pylon in a strong position, but Psycho still healthy. Pistola dumping his cooldown. It's just nothing left in the fight. And this is, we're coming down to the overtime here, so it's going to be that final push from TM. Well, TM has to get the lead back, right? So,
yeah, they got 4 ultimates coming up here. Funny Astro's gonna build this orbital ray in time. That's plenty of ultimates. Realistically, you only need the one fight here, Jake, and you should be able to close out the map.
But by the same token, Twisted Minds have to win like 2, so this is still very winnable for them with the ultimate advantage. They are still in control and could potentially close this series out. Virtus.pro, the Ray is going to be probably the most crucial ult of all. Still aggressive from Pistola, not giving up anything for free. Jaywu takes a bit of pressure, forced back up the angle. Twisted Minds still playing this one patiently and slow. They're waiting for their own orbital ray, I think, to open this one up. Fix is going to strike first. Ray's traded, but KSA is doing so much with that ultimate. Pistola finds Funny Astro. Heals are low, but KSA is still healthy, still tanking it up with that ultimate. Pistola backs up to the flank, finds a second kill, and looking to get even more done. The high noon, there's nobody left to respond to it. Shots from the side, bursts down KSA from full HP. And Virtus.pro battled that one back from such an incredible deficit. Getting a map here into the series, I mean, that was blood, sweat, and tears, but they got it over the line.
Just an unbelievable push map there. We're treated to Twisted Minds. Huge advantage, 180 meters just within the first 3 minutes, and Virtus.pro able to claw themselves back. I feel like Twisted Minds, though, there are a few of these fights where I'm thinking like, man, like you got the advantage, you have the ultimates required, and they're kind of like letting Virtus.pro back into these maps. They clutched out on Dorado, but again, like you have a 108 meter lead on push. You need to close that out. Like that needs to be your map to win. But Virtus.pro, they find a way through brilliant play, playing the Cassidy and the Illari.
I actually put a lot of credit on Illari there because I think Simple and Psycho are doing the right thing. I think they actually, despite the lead, they need to go kill the Illari. Like the Illari does a lot if you don't kill her. Her vulnerability is being focus fired and killed and punished. And I think Shockwave's doing great, like bodyguarding that play and preventing it from happening. Same story with Jaywu. And, you know, it's just Gala being able to win those 1v1s. And it looks like Simple's going down first, but reality is like he kind of does need to take over this. He kind of does need to take that challenge with Psycho on the flank. And it's just the tenacity from Virtus.pro to be able to fight back into that. Some clutch fights from Jaywu, clutch fights from Gala, Pistola as well, coming up big. That's a hard fought map, but it's on the scoreboard now. And now Virtus.pro, this is where it gets really tough. 2 Twisted Mind map picks back to back. You've got to win them both to take this series home.
Yeah, and I feel like Runasapi is such a map that if Virtus.pro, they really wanted to double down on this kind of a Orisa composition, right? And they played it to an absolute T. But because Twisted Minds, they now have map pick, there are so many different maps in the pool that they can go to that really will make Virtus.pro uncomfortable here. So, you know, obviously you want to go into escort, and we already picked push as well. So the question is, like, do you go to something like Suravasa perhaps here and spread it out on Flashpoint? or do you go to hybrid? You know, we'll have to wait and see here, Jake.
Good options in the tank for TM. It's a long road home for Virtus.pro, but they have shown tenacity so far in the series. We'll see if they've got more in the tank, if they can bring this one back. We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back, everybody. It's a close series. Virtus.pro starting to strike back there, finding a bit of life on Runasapi. I think a lot of that was due to Gala's Illari able to really make Quartz kind of a non-factor on Runasapi, right? Like a lot of the times it was the Illari shutting down some of those flanking plays. But New Junk City, Illari banned. You got to have more tricks up your sleeve for Virtus.pro. We'll see what they do.
Also, I think banning Illari on New Junk City, that's a lot
that is actually wild respect. Yeah, like this is
Illari, yeah.
But I could sort of see the vision, but yeah, I mean, mid-fight is rough for Illari, but maybe the other points could be annoying.
Yeah. So Icenom is going to get subbed in here for Vestola once again, so quite interesting. The Mauga ban coming in actually from VP, I think it would be quite relevant here because the last time they actually did play New Junk City, or maybe not the last time, but when they did go to New Junk City against Alcadzia in week 1, they did actually play the Mauga. Now, we've evolved a lot since then.
Dude, I want Jaywu to play Sims so bad right now. I want Jaywu to be checkmated.
Maybe.
It's actually, I think it's actually good here, but I don't think he's going to... Oh, Shockwave missed the TP. That's so sad. That's actually kind of a big deal, not having the Cassidy out on the TP.
It's a little slower out.
Yeah, which is because Cassidy's arguably one of the most important characters to be early to mid, to put that pressure onto Quartz. Shockwave, though, he's here now. See if he can put some damage down. Simple, putting a lot of pressure on the flank. Shockwave under pressure. Drone already forced out. Scary. Maybe they can recover this. Eisnom, though, now he's the one who needs a little bit more support. He's forced a lot of his own skills. Big shots, though, onto Simple, making this one winnable. Oh, just Simple's just barely going to slip away by the skin of his teeth. Twisted Mind's dancing well, but Virtus.pro weathered the storm. Now it's their turn to punch back. And Jaywu, Shockwave finding instant kill, same timing. Okay, that was a scary opening. Twisted Mind's even got the cap. Virtus.pro bend, but they do not break, and they snap back with a vengeance. Psycho is just getting whatever last second of stall he possibly can. Jaywu, though, sends him packing.
So again, this is both teams' different play styles on display here. Despite the fact that Virtus.pro, they're not playing the Lucio this time around, they're playing the Brig. You know, slightly narrower map here on New Junk City. You want the Brig to be able to fight in these close enemy lines, but Shockwave is rotating. He's getting active on the Cassidy. He's opening things up, looking for picks here all the time. Well, the Twisted Minds are playing the Juno and the Kiri here, trying to maneuver around in this composition from Virtus.pro.
Yeah, a lot of heals in the Twisted Minds comp, but it's pretty hard for them to turn some corners. And Stola, rather Eisnom on the Orisa, is putting out a lot of frontline pressure. They're trading in admirably, though. This time, Quartz taking the wide angle, trying to match that Cassidy's positioning. Window comes out. Maybe it'll be a little bit too scary, but Psycho's found himself into a great backflank position. There's no drone. A stick would be deadly. There it is under the Brig. It's enough. BAP is low. No second healer. Quartz would love to find something here. No recall either, though. So Gala's able to win that duel. KSA is low. Gets cleaned up. Quartz and Simple trying to fight this one out. They find one, but Jaywu should have all the tools he needs to get this clean up.
Yeah,
1 HP.
The first point here. Great play from Jaywu, closing things out there. And just when he thought Psycho had opened up another fight there, dude has just been crazy so far this series. It's going to be Virtus.pro looking good on this Orisa composition. Yes, Icenom is in for Vestola, but they've proven on the previous push map and starting off pretty hot here on New Junk City that this composition is working out for them, Jake, against Twisted Minds.
And these hit scan supports looking pretty strong. Quartz not being able to get as active, although, you know, that first point relatively enclosed, probably one of the best for Cassidy. Now Quartz has a little bit more space to work with. We'll see what he can get done. Jaywu backflanking, though, on this Ramatra, really putting a lot of pressure on him, forcing him off the corner there in the cooldown. KSA has to reveal early, but he's not that healthy. Drone is cleared by Gala, or from Gala. Fixa, though, with the rally, creating enough space and time. They're letting the ultimate tick out. Beautiful positioning here from VP. Orbital Ray now ripped from Funny Astro, trying to force this one through the line. Eisnom with the spin, pulls Funny Astro just around the corner. This could be deadly. Not quite enough damage, but it is enough to shut down KSA. Eisnom is low, tanking through so much. Takes off the field as just the supports of the DPS trying to duel this one out. Crucial moment here. Fixa low, shield broken, is incredibly trying to survive on this Brig. The drone just keeps him up and he's able to kill Psycho. No way, Virtus.pro snatched this one back.
Jay was just clearing up on the angles here with Eisnom dead. Oh my god. Fantastic Tracer performance, but Twisted Minds, they invest so much in trying to kill the Orisa that by the time they do, I mean, Shockwave, Jaywu, they're working these angles, working around Twisted Minds, and they're able to get the picks required. 50% in counting Virtus.pro. They're looking dominant so far. Double support that's used for Twisted Minds. This has been all Virtus.pro so far.
Yeah, and KSA kind of struggling without the brig. The Orisa's just this immovable object, just fearlessly pushing into the backline. And you're so worried about this constant flank pressure that JWoo's putting on. It's a nice recall force though by Quartz. A lot of cooldowns expended there. Shockwave looking to get on a flank of his own, getting very active. Has Brig with him, is creating a lot of space and opportunity. It's a big investment into Shockwave, but so far it's paying off. Now the window in the front line. Big Vola shot from Quartz, but it's answered by the High Noon. And Shockwave is healthy. Shockwave and Vixar are this dynamic duo on the flank, and they are just crashing across this backline. Shockwave getting low though, in a bit of trouble. JWoo, he's been such a hero before. Look at that tracking, so clean, forces the TP out. Now KSA getting no support on the point, and the clock ticks against them. Virtus.pro up 2-0. They are desperate to send it to a map 5, and it is looking very good right now, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, Twisted Minds, they need to change something up here. This is just clearly not working for them. It's been a dominant performance from Virtus.pro so far. Do you get away from this Juno Kiriko kind of composition from Twisted Minds? You know, they stuck to this before, but it is clearly not working out for them now. They will come up on that Kitsune Rush for this fight. Could be very effective indoors here, but if they don't get a win on this first fight, Jake, Virtus.pro in a fantastic scenario to close out this map.
I will say, defending corners, I think they actually are quite good. They have like a million heals to give to their Ramatra. Here's Virtus.pro getting very aggressive, but the punish is heavy. Psycho hitting from behind, picks up very low. Is he going to try to pop the rally and recommit to this? JWoo with the pulse bomb makes it possible, but both support's already down at the hands of Psycho. I think Twisted Minds have just done a little bit too much in this round. And that will be VP backing off, letting Twisted Minds take the cap. There's a road here for a run back from Twisted Minds. It's actually kind of achievable when you think about the next couple points where this game is going to be decided, but it is going to require perfection. And to ask for perfection against somebody like JWoo right now is a scary prospect.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to see how Twisted Minds respond to Shockwave, because you can see, like him and Fixa, they're going for this right-hand side flank while Icenom is going off main here, presumably. And so they're split up here. How do Twisted Minds deal with this aggression from two different angles? Actually, they're
trying to split themselves, but Simple's getting kind of rotated away from. KSA's in trouble with the ult. He's doing so much in this hallway. The flank punishes, crunches them there. And that break flank finally gets brutally punished, even with the rally. It's just not enough to deal with the front line. You still grab the flip back, and Icenom finds one, but I think KSA has just done too much there in that fight. Scoring a little bit of cap time is a nice little micro victory, and JWoo is dancing very well, making himself a big problem. Vix as well comes in for just that one extra second of stall. I thought about the Doomfist coming back fast, but yeah, I think wisely chose to just take the reset. But in the end, Twisted Minds, I mean, that's a good fight for them.
Exactly, exactly. And they responded to the Cassidy. It was an aggressive push from KSA, got tons of value from their Ramatra in those tight corridors. And it's them now responding to what Virtus.pro are doing with these Cassidy flanks, right? Let's see how they work around this one. Got an orbital ray, ultimates on both sides.
Psycho from behind. Oh, this is a terrible spot to be as Gala is trying to hold on to that drone with every last second. Doesn't have it. Then so dies to the pulse bomb. Now Fixa is low. Close to that rally, but not close enough. Shockwave with 2 though, so hold on. This is still a fight. But not enough HP. Quartz and Psycho working together, the dynamic duo alongside Simple, keeping everyone supported. And yeah, you can stall for a few more seconds for JWoo. But you need to do more than that. Psycho would love to hunt down that Tracer kill. JWoo dances away, but Icenom not getting the support, running out of cooldowns. Is there any more touches in the overtime? There is not. Virtus.pro gonna back off, try to do it on some of the other points, but it's a good roll for Twisted Minds. This is exactly the point you wanted to open next.
Absolutely. You get to set up here on the high ground as well, and it's pressure on Virtus.pro to try to get an in on this point. You know, if you send the Cassidy like on a different flank here, there's a lot of distance between the Cassidy Brig and the rest of the team, so maybe your best choice is just to walk up here all 5-man together, and that might actually benefit Twisted Minds and their Juno Kiriko position.
High Noon could be strong here. No cancels for the High Noon, so you can kind of like fearlessly Aura Farm walking down mid, but I mean, he's taking a lot of pressure, just can't quite get up close enough just to pull the trigger on it. And VP, they're getting harassed from all sides. Simple slips away on like 1 HP from that flank fight, but he's still alive. And so Twisted Minds still in control here. They're gonna try and get that first cap. JWoo from the lower, trying to get into early High Noon pop, but he's not really able to get channeling on the back line. And TM still grabbed the first cap. That's not a good fight opener for VP. They're under time pressure now. This is not where you want to be. Gala's out on his lonesome, and Simple ripping this ultimate from the flank is just cutting through them with the daggers.
Yeah, so much value. Not only did you get the point cap, but you clean up this fight as well, and this is going to be beautiful amount of
they're stalling Icenom.
Yeah. This is
a
a
good stall,
massive
too.
fight win there for Twisted Minds. Great play by Simple, finding the pick onto Shockwave there as well. So you get plenty of value from that Kitsune rush. And again, Virtus.pro, you have double support ultimate here at least. So that rally is going to help you get some positioning for the Cassidy. Amplification Matrix is going to serve you well. But still though, the point cap is like below the high ground, right? So it's still a bit tricky for Virtus.pro to get maximum value with this 5-man, with these ultimates. Twisted Minds have an opportunity to play around it for some time.
Yeah, you got it. You're forcing the point right now with the Tracer, trying to get something done. There's a big Amp Matrix out in the open, but the bullet shot puts too much pressure on Bap. He's not really able to use the position. Here's KSA from behind. Still has that ultimate ticking. Has closed the range on Eisnam, who's dropping low. Has the ultimate, but yeah, just can't find the window to pop it there. And down 99-0. Feels like this point is also going to be going against Virtus.pro. And we are going to be going down to the final point of Flashpoint. Twisted Minds, they don't change the comp, but they change the playstyle. They find the adaptation. Shockwave and Fixa have not found that same purchase on the flank in those last 2 points. This final point, maybe a little bit more option for those flanking angles, one that's a little bit less front to back that I think is good for VP's comp. Twisted Minds, so they have some serious momentum right now. They're going to be playing with a lot of confidence here, despite the ulti disadvantage.
Yeah, we'll have to see how these flanks turn out. Psycho's done a tremendous job on the Tracer so far, but it's going to need help from the rest of the team to try to get some value. KC is going to push at the point here.
Shockwave low.
Where is the rest of the team attacking from?
The fights are all taking place on the flanks here. It's all about this Tracer battle. Can he come in and take down that backline of Bunny Astro? Simple saves him for now. Pulse Bomb goes from Psycho. No connection. Rally, High Noon, big ult up, but somehow it's Jwoo who goes down in the process. Sure, you get the flip on a VP, but you're down 1. This is a crucial fight to win. Psycho recalls from the headshot. Eisnam so low, has the spin, getting a lot of heals pumped into him, but Twisted Minds, they smell blood in the water, trying to chase down for more. Here's Shockwave coming from behind, getting it done himself. And he's still healthy, still fighting this one out. VP with the point control, but without Eisnam, it's a tough fight to win from here. Shockwave somehow needs to find another. So difficult. Big headshots back to back onto the tank. Jwoo pulls on Psycho, and Shockwave's getting it done with another ridiculous shot. That's an insane one to shut down. And another. This guy is on a heater.
This guy's crazy. That guy's crazy. Oh my god, Virtus.pro, that's 55% from essentially the first fight here. And Twisted Minds back against the wall here. They looked so good the previous 2 points, but Virtus.pro getting that early cap. They're just able to survive through Twisted Minds' pressure, and now last fight territory. Twisted Minds, they got a Kitsune rush. Quartz has a huge bola shot here. One of these players need to open things up for Twisted Minds.
Shockwave, my king, can he do it again? The massive ultimate disadvantage is so against them in this fight. They could also go for the retake. Here's the rush coming in right on top of Shockwave. He's running out of cooldowns. Desperation, High Noon tries to tank through everything. Still gets the shot on the Psycho. He's dropping low though. KSA rips the ult. Quartz is low but still alive. Eisnam and Gauntlet combine for kills on the flank, and somehow Shockwave has played his way out of this. He's gonna win, taking this to a game 5. The hero in their team's moment of need, Virtus.pro. Bringing this one to the limit. An unbelievable fight from Shockwave. That is a career high.
That is crazy. Oh my god. I can't believe what a monster performance by Shockwave to clutch that one out. That was absurd. It came down to like a 3v3 in that first fight on the 5th point. It came down to like a 3v3 and Shockwave just went beast mode. Dude,
I think it was against them. I think they were down like 1 or 2 players, and Shockwave just starts tearing their heads off. That is so, on the Cassidy, it's like every one of those kills, if you fail that kill, you probably just die to the same person who you killed. But he just kept railing off headshots, even onto KSA, big headshots onto him as he's turning into the ram form, so that he can't be aggressive. He doesn't have the HP to keep the push up. I mean, any one of those shots misses on Cassidy, and things could so easily fall apart. So Shockwave, absolutely clutch there. We've seen it from him time and time again, but it looks like today is no exception. And this series is going all the way. We were a little worried after maps 1 and 2. We thought maybe Twisted Minds got a little bit too much in this series, but this one's the banger we had hoped for, Johnny.
Wow. Yeah, what an incredible series. It's totally delivered between 2 of the best teams in the region, going head to head and showing us, you know, fairly different play styles here. You know, there are some small different approaches when it comes to the flanks. The Cassidy, of course, from Shockwave has been amazing. Psycho coming up huge for his team on this Tracer. And it really felt like Twisted Minds. They had the momentum going into that 5th point, but you know, it's such a long rotation as well to that 5th point, and it felt like Twisted Minds, they were coming into it. They didn't have the same level of positioning as they had the previous 2 points. And Virtus.pro getting that first point cap, they were just able to live through and maintain, and Shockwave with shots like this, like, oh my god.
You know, I will say where the Cassidy was able to just get active on the flanks on some of these more circular points with like different options to hit from different angles. That's where VP looked the strongest. And I think when it was a pure front to back and KSA can like hold the door on Ram and just get infinite heals from Juno Kiri, they were the stronger team. So I actually think kind of both teams won where their comp should have won, but props to VP because 3 out of 5, I believe, favored their strategy. I mean, just shows how closely matched these teams are. Like, you give them an inch, they take a mile. You got somebody like Shockwave doing heroics to force that game to the 5th map. And I mean, Twisted Minds, they have that one more map pick though. So as good as this feels for VP, you're going to, I believe it's the hybrid map pick. And so this is a powerful one, right? These are some very different maps. And I'm curious to see where you take it. I mean, where would you want to go if you're Twisted Minds, Johnny?
Wow. Oh my god. This is a massively...
It should go to Hollywood because this series is cinema, baby.
Oh, wow. Cracking jokes over here, going into map 5. That's great, Jake.
Chat type, ha ha ha.
Chat type, ha. Oh my god, we're losing it here on our 3rd match of the day. I mean, Hollywood though, if you're kind of like thinking about the play styles, like, do you want to pick Hollywood if you're playing this?
Like no joking, I think King's Row is probably the best pick. I feel like that's the worst Cassidy map in terms of like the least flanking options. Or I feel like the verticality is also really important on that map. So if you want to force this Freya duel where Shockwave has been showing just really impressive stuff in the cast all series long, King's Row strikes me as the worst map of the 3 for cast.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so we actually had the map pick just come in actually, and it's going to be neither. It's going to be Midtown.
Okay.
Out of all maps here. So
also, I think a pretty bad casting map, just a very long range situation.
Right. And you know, if you wanted to play Juno Kiri, like, you totally could hold down some of these chokes. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the Juno Kiri, but maybe as long as you can, you know, make this a front to back. This is a hybrid map, especially the first point, right? Is like very hard to get past the tank on the defensive corner of first point. And so maybe the Juno Kiri get to work their magic and just like get those ridiculous quantity of heals into, you know, one of the tankiest frontliners in the game in Ramatra.
Yeah, and so we have the bans here as well. It's going to be Twisted Minds. They're going to ban the Orisa, so they recognize what VP are doing best. We don't want to deal with the Orisa. We want nothing to do with that. And VP is going to ban the Kiriko. So Vestola is subbing in here, but Orisa Kiriko ban essentially, you know, makes things difficult for both teams here. Both teams forced to adapt from what they found success with in this series.
Simple has been a force of nature for me this season. He's been one of the most impressive players for me in the region in terms of like the come up for a player, and the Kiriko has been often his bread and butter choice. So I actually really like that choice to take it away for this final map in the series. We're gonna force Simple to show us something else when he's hitting from these flanks on the carry. He's so nasty with the picks. He's getting out, you know, on like 1 HP. He's pushing it to the limit, and that's a serious problem, especially on Midtown where there's a lot of the options for verticality and for Kiri to really get tricky. So I actually think this is a great tool to be taking away.
Yeah, it feels like we're trending towards something like, you know, Juno Brig, Ramatra compositions or something like that.
It's interesting. Could the bat be strong here?
Yeah, for sure.
Bat Brig, totally. Juno Brig. I'm not sure. Like I kind of like the. I could see both options. It kind of depends how you want to look on DPS. Do you want to go for something a little bit more mobile, or do you want to, you know, play a little bit more front to back? I really haven't seen much Midtown. I feel like everyone's been picking King's Row for the most part, but
I do remember. I think Nightmare played Midtown. Rocket played the May in that matchup as well. And so, you know,
I haven't seen like any May. Actually, I feel like if Bat Brig is in the meta, May should probably make a comeback. No, May's kind of OP against those characters.
Yeah, and VP, they actually did. JWoo actually did play the May on Circuit Real one time. I'm not sure exactly when that was. So I just do remember that JWoo played the May. Of course, they played the May as well in Champions Clash. That was one of Virtus.pro go-to, was playing the Sigma May on Circuit Real, but slightly different dynamics here on Midtown instead. So we'll have to see if JWoo would even consider bringing out the May here on Midtown.
Could be a wild one. Could be that monkey wrench to throw into the series, especially with the Kiri ban. No cleanse for the May ult. May is kind of nasty when she gets perked up like that. No Orisa to fortify. I'm kind of liking the May here. I don't know what's going to come out.
Any Ilori enjoyers? Oh, Gala's going to hover the Ilori actually, yeah. So I was just about
Pistola
to
on
add.
the signature Sigma. He's been coming in and out of the lineup, and they bring him back in here for the final test. You brought it back to game 5. It's been a team effort across the entire series. We've got a quick listen in with Twisted Minds, though. Remember, the series has been running back against them. How are they going to snatch this momentum back here on Midtown?
Attackers incoming.
Very quietly. Don't make a sound. They gotta lock in here though. Under pressure, Shockwave's on the tour. Pistola is on the Sig. This is gonna be a withering amount of defensive pressure to try and walk into. Psycho on the Mei, but the defenders are split. Who do you wall? What can Simple get done here on the Ilari? Can he find that same success that Gala has?
Gala's all the way on the left-hand side here, and Psycho spotted it out on the Mei. But this is Virtus.pro. They're spreading out as much as possible, poking from all angles. How does Twisted Minds walk up here? And
Pylon broken is pretty big here. It's going to create a little bit of a window here. If Psycho can get this off angle, that'd be great for Twisted Minds. The Torb fight, this is a critical 1v1. Pops that overload, pushing him back on the Torb. Now he takes that high ground off angle, and I mean, it's really important he holds on to the position, but Jwoo punishes. And it's Jwoo now on the Freya. It's Shockwave on the Torb, I just now realized. Twisted Minds. Let's see if they can manage to stabilize this one, but Virtus.pro in full control. Pistola sending it here into the front line. A very aggressive dive in from Simple. Gets absolutely smoked on the punish. And Pistola, he's eaten. He's 800 HP.
It's so scary for Simple to play this Ilari as well, because you kind of have to rotate with the rest of your team to not get spotted out. But Virtus.pro, I mean, with this defensive positioning, they're controlling all of these different angles and able to deal with Twisted Minds. So they're gonna push through. So
Sort of like the high ground push.
It's a bit tough, but Virtus.pro, they're just gonna spread out even further.
And Funny Astro cords are incredibly low. They get picked off. Gala punishing Virtus.pro. Still healthy. Still hitting from all sides. Explosion goes off, but it only takes down the drone. And Virtus.pro building up a full head of steam here. 5 ultimates. This 1v1 is crucial. Gala gets the connection with the Captive Sun. Just the headshot as well. Insane onto Simple. Instantly stuffs the peak. And with only the Captive Sun, they send Twisted Minds packing. Virtus.pro have taken firm control of this series.
Twisted Minds, they have this Blizzard now. Psycho's got the Blizzard, but you kind of like need to play around it. It's going to be so hard to get any kind of value with this Blizzard to begin with. But Simple playing the Ilari as well. I kind of feel like it's Twisted Minds not really deciding how they want to play this composition. Do we want to play around Sekus Mei or Ilari? It's all falling apart from Twisted Minds here, Jake.
Johnny, I was really hoping our listening was broken, but I suspected it was not. Twisted Minds just scrambling for anything here. And I mean, I feel like they're playing right into the hands of Virtus.pro.
Yeah.
Midtown looks so comfortable for them. They're playing a classic VP poke style of vintage. One that every player is so comfortable on. Shockwave's flexing on you on the Torb. This has got to sting. Maybe Psycho can be a difference maker with the Blizzard, but he can't even walk up to the corner properly. Now the team's starting to get in position. Just taking down breakables is like the only thing you can do now.
Yeah,
they got some position on the point. Molten Core drop from Shockwave, zoning them back.
Yeah, the Molten Core is going to come out by some time, and Psycho goes down, not having used the Blizzard. A minute to go, and Twisted Minds, surely they need to retreat one more time here. KSA gonna die late as well.
Yeah, they're looking so strong. The clock's running down against you, Twisted Minds. You haven't even grabbed the tick. Psycho. Oh, is he being delayed on the Mei? Oh, the Mei maybe slipped away. Okay.
Yeah.
Slip back. I mean, you just
I don't
this
see the
is
value.
This is a mental boom, Johnny. I'm calling it now. Mental boom. Twisted Minds on the walk up once again. Can they change anything? They've got some ultis. Maybe this is the moment, right? Orbital Ray.
Speed in and get this Blizzard.
Got the speed ring. You got to be worried though about this verticality. Blizzard just does freeze Pistola though. That's crucial. Can you save Pistola? The support's coming in. The drone is perfect right into that backline. Bunny Astro's so low. In the orbital raid, doesn't have to take it. It's caught by the bullet shot as well from Jwoo. Gala finds one. Simple though. Could bring this back. This is still a winnable scenario for Twisted Minds. KSA rips the ultimate. And finally, after minutes of struggle, Twisted Minds are going to cap first point with the overtime fight. Johnny, this is looking scary.
Yeah, it was just too overwhelming for Virtus.pro at that point. Twisted Minds, They had all the ultimates required, and just getting something as simple as a blizzard onto Vasola, forcing the lamp, and then getting these initial picks, that was enough for Twisted Minds to secure the first point. But man, they've dug themselves a hole now. 2 minute 30 to get the second point cap here. Vastola's going to be a very happy camper playing this high ground. Shockwave's over to the Sojourn as well. It's full-on poke from Virtus.pro, and Twisted Minds, they have to find a way to take this high ground or find a pick from Simple's Discord.
All right, I kind of like this D.Va swap, though. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from TM. They're up in the pace. They're putting some pressure on. Here's Vasola, though, with the Flux. Signature skill does catch Funny Astro. Follow-up is there. There's no saves for Funny Astro. Simple alone trying to heal through this on the Zen, but way too tall of an order. Fixa with the drone just to secure Vastola's position. Shockwave playing off of it as well. And it's time to clean up the map here, dealing with Simple in this off-angle flank. Jwoo gets the job done. And Twisted Minds, I'd love to see maybe a faster tempo choice, but what can Simple play here without the Kiriko? It's a little bit of an awkward spot. Maybe the Zen is the best they can do.
Gonna stick on the Zen here. I feel like that's so scary, though.
And Gala is just taking liberties on the flank, right? He's so dominant. Virtus.pro are playing to their strengths, right? They're keeping the pressure on. They're not allowing the attackers to take position. Shockwave piles on the pressure, a rail into Simple, and the spawn camp is on the cards here, Johnny. If I've ever seen a moment for a spawn camp, it is now.
How do you expect the Zenyatta to stay alive through all of this? Like, Twisted Minds walk up and Virtus.pro are going to capitalize. I'm not just sure.
It's kind of like only Tracer, so I actually think it's sort of okay to play Zen here. I don't think it's so crazy. You might get away with it because of the lack of mobility on the VP comp.
Even so, I think it's going to be very tough to get value from the Zenyatta, get value from the Discord Lord. Maybe you can build this Transcendence in time. 45 seconds to go, and they've done nothing on this second point, Jake.
Yeah, they've got to get something over the line here. Maybe dealing with Gala in this back corner would be a start, but he's got the Captive Sun. He can fly away if he needs to. Now, Jwoo looking to profit from this greedier backline, pressuring in. Backs up for now, comes a deal with the D.Va. Gala looking for something on the flank. Doesn't find much here with the ultimate. Twisted Minds licking their wounds just a little bit. Simple, close to that Transcendence. Could mitigate some of his passivity. Oh, Gala's so low, just barely dances away from those orbs. Vastola now turns tail, but Simple has the trance. He can play his way out of this one. Is just fighting it out, holding it out of the trance. No way. Okay, he doesn't pop it. They think they can win without it, but they might be just right. Twisted Minds, KSA solo, but he does have that self-destruct. Gotta keep pushing this cart. Quartz with 2. Okay, so in dire straits, Twisted Minds find the way to pull it back together. Self-destruct is forced. Jwoo cannot quite escape the blast radius in time. And then once again, it comes down to the wire, but actually, I mean, I kind of like the presence of mind from Simple to go down there, trusting that the team has the edge.
Yeah, and now they're going to be in a great position here. Twisted Minds as well. Double support, ultimate their way. They got this Transcendence in hand to deal with the Flux if necessary. Both Soldiers players with the overclock here, Jake.
Simple, getting a lot of time. I mean, the Zen, kind of a bully on the flank, right? Here's the OC from Shockwave. Wants to force some kind of powerful support all out. Simple feels the pressure, doesn't want to get one tapped here. Vastola, though, still has the Flux. Shockwave in trouble. Now the OC comes out from Quartz. He could get this done. Big Flux, but Vastola has to hide. Shockwave, uncontested on the high ground. Just a big shot into the back. Another into Vastola's head. Takes him out. Simple is down, but the Ray on the cart. Maybe it's just too much pressure. Virtus.pro falling apart at the seams. Oh, Funny Astro drops. No supports left. No sustain for Twisted Minds. They gotta close this one out here and now. Quartz should be going down, but maybe Psycho KSA doing enough on the cart. And Jwoo 1 HP can't quite stall it out.
Oh my
God. Every time at the final hurdle, Twisted Minds pull it together.
Just when you thought that maybe Virtus.pro, they forced that Transcendence early, which would have allowed Vastola to hit the Flux, but the fight just breaks down. It's all over the place. And Twisted Minds, they come out on top again. Dude, insane series back and forth. And now Virtus.pro making a ton of swaps heading into third point defense here. Now playing the Lucio Bap again, bringing it back. But
yeah, I think they went to the Lucio to punish the greed, but then Simple went over to the Ana. Oh, that's a sick pick out. Ana's pretty much uncontested here. Pulse Bomb goes wide, but still got that drone out from Gala. Simple, low, gets bursted, just can't quite get the skills off. Vasola just found the window to get aggressive. Virtus.pro all low across the board, though. It's Psycho starting to punish back the other way. KSA finds another, so hold on. Maybe you've gone a little bit too far as VP. Barely enough heals. Perfect tracking from Funny Astro. Just keeps Quartz alive. Sends Jwoo packing low on the CDs. And Vasola runs out of health. Once again, Twisted Minds, they're pulling it together.
Shockwave Widow. Shockwave swap to Widow in spawn.
He's got to be such a hero here. Speed ring, Psycho. I mean, this is a scary spot to be on Widow. It's a good point for Widow. But the pressure is going to be intense in the Ravenous Vortex. Still going to take a peek. Still going to take a risk, but right in your face is KSA. Sends him packing to the spawn. And Quartz, 97 to the overclock. This could be the final nail. Virtus.pro, they've got Jwoo's pulse bomb and a hope and a dream. Quartz pops those, he instant shot on the Fixa, dodges the pulse bomb, Psycho with another, and Twisted Minds are getting this one done all the way to last point. They're gonna get the full cap in overtime. I cannot believe it, Johnny, with the way this game started out. The silent listening, the pure drama, and yet TM find the courage to keep on fighting, to coordinate. I actually can't believe it. After the silent listen in and the 4-minute near full hold, I thought this one was Jover.
You gotta be kidding me, Jake. What is happening? This series is insane. Psycho just out of his mind, that attack, clutching it up. Unbelievable performance. This is one of the best matches of the year here in the EMEA so far, Jake. This is both teams taking it to the absolute wire. Twisted Minds coming out on top on overtime on the first point, overtime in the second point, and then get the complete cap on Midtown. Suddenly, the pressure is on the Virtus.pro. How do they respond on their own attack here, Jake?
Oh, it's so hard now. You came so close. You thought for sure after the first 3 minutes of that attack, you guys, they thought they won, man. How could you not? How could you not?
It was over.
All right, we're gonna have to see now. Virtus.pro in the comms. We're gonna jump in, listen to them as they start this attack. Can they find some momentum here? They need to get it started hot.
Let's clear one side and then...
Lamp.
Yeah. Just gonna... So...
Send.
Send tray.
Inside left.
I'm going today.
So, we can clear left side and then push, I think.
Yeah.
Juno, keep looking for Juno, okay? Off time.
Juno right side.
Okay, let's pick
Real soldier.
Chill Levondo.
You kill Send. 3...
Yeah, I can go.
Oh, I can.
Full left.
Tray.
Oh shit. One chill.
Yeah, come back, man. Next right side, okay?
I'm coming with. Yeah.
We walk soon. Run me.
Tell me.
3, 2, 1, I'm taking the pride.
Nice. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
taking.
Oh, shooting me, we need to
Good.
get this one.
Yeah. Turn one.
I can just
Look,
hold on.
sorry.
Just pretend about it.
Tre.
I can go in 5.
All behind.
Chill.
Chill.
I can hold here, maybe.
Ram on me, no form.
Yeah.
I'm going back
No,
main.
yeah.
We need to go harder, guys. We need to kill. Then we walk, look for kills. I can go. 3, 2, 1. Send.
Sold on me.
Ram next, I think.
Here's
Ram next.
Ram, you shoot.
Ram.
Yeah. Sold on here. Sold on.
Thanks, side.
Juno. We need to go more when we go.
You can hear the desperation in Vistola's voice. I've never seen him show emotion, and here it finally comes out in the match that means so much to them. And that's exactly the attack that they need. That's exactly the energy they need from Vistola to go harder, to go deeper, to punish this Zen. They have to stop Simple from getting that value. Vistola, he's got to be the man to do it alongside Jwoo and a double speed amp. I mean, this is a scary spot to be a Zen. Let's be honest. Virtus.pro, it's a great opening cap, but there's a lot of map left.
Recall Force here onto Psycho, can't afford to get picked. As Virtus.pro are taking some ground on this point. KSA is sitting on the card right now. This is what Vasola talked about. The Ramatra is on the card. How can we work around the Ramatra to find picks in the backline?
Some damage from Jwoo, put a little bit of pressure on. Orbital Ray now ripped out, but the Trance immediately comes out to counter. And there's just not enough heals from the Ray. It's not keeping Vasola alive. He dies, forces the self-destruct. Pulse Bomb goes wide, but somehow KSA dies to the bomb. And Virtus.pro, that's a huge pick. Now without the Ramatra, there's not really anyone left to hold cart. The rest of Twisted Minds trying to stay alive, trying to keep what map control they can maintain. Without Psycho, though, that cart is going to roll. It's a big commitment from Ultimates, though. Of Ultimates, rather, from Virtus.pro. You've got that sound barrier up next. A lot of Ultimates to respond to. I think Shockwave needs to be the hero right here. And Simple is going to go over to the brig, so it'll be able to brawl a little bit more in that close range. Let's see what these overclocks can get done. It's a duel of the fates, Quartz versus Shockwave here. For second point, this could be so impactful. Both soldiers playing out wide. OC pop first. And you know, Matt, how can you force the aggression without the suit? Shockwave looks for the counter kill, but Vistola gets punished by Psycho, just cuts him to pieces. And that's a full reset now for VP. Without Vistola, they just cannot fight this one. Now it's starting to look scary. Okay, I love that instant swap to the Ramatra. Heads up play from Pistola. The Diva would have really struggled into the Brig pick.
Yeah, and I think Pistola was slow to respond to that Brig pick as well. He was very aggressive, which forced to use the boosters to retreat, but he couldn't reach the high ground, and they got
And Simple's back to the Zen.
And Simple's back on the Zen. Yes, you're right. So now Virtus.pro, they're playing this double speed composition about Pistola onto the ramp. They can't punish the backline as much unless they really commit with the sound barrier.
An aggressive beat is so terrifying to contemplate right now, but it feels like your only option. They do get the ultimate out of KSA, who's sort of happy to just trade with Pistola. As when Pistola's form expires, he's going to be in some potential trouble right now. Big cooldown advantage for KSA, who's taking the fight up to the high ground. Gonna pop that second form, that gets the beat out. Funny Astro's gonna respond with the Ray, and KSA still healthy, still now turning it back around. Jay will find Simple though. And so Twisted Minds, they need to find some more kills into this chaos. Psycho with a pulse bomb, no connection. Quartz, maybe with the overclock, here it comes. Out of the high ground, he's in a strong position. Has potential free fire zone, but Virtus.pro, they're nowhere to be found. They're hiding away. Here it comes, Quartz, the 2 shots to the back. Lucio fights it back though, Fixa trades that one out, and Twisted Minds, desperation recontest now. Zen, Ramatra, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Funny Astro to Lucio, but just no shot to make it to point. And they have to make the hold on third. Virtus.pro, it comes down to this. They're trying to force that overtime round, trying to get back to that cherished first point defense that they looked so amazing on before.
And Twisted Minds, Founding Astro is going to swap over to the Juno here. The aggression from Virtus.pro has worked beautifully when they commit, and the backline as well. They're rotating with the front line, making sure they are not punished. So that is the big question for Virtus.pro once more. They're still on this Juno Lucio. Or are they going to double down once more with this orbital ray coming up?
Big damage on a Simple, getting massive heals though from Funny Astro's immediately ready. He knows where that aggression is coming, and just without perfect heals, that would have been Simple going down. Virtus.pro showing so much threat. Gala's gonna rip the Ray, but still has 1 HP, just barely trying to stay alive. Simple dumping damage downrange. Not quite enough, but the Ray doesn't get the aggressive option it was really hoping for. It ended up being purely defensive. And Simple, he's floating around, he's looking for these big right clicks, drops a headshot on the J-Woo as the back off. Heal amp now forced out of Fixa. So now Twisted Minds starting to look pretty stable. Transcendence in the back pocket. Shockwave's the OC, can he find an instant connect? No. The trade is forced, and Funny Astro's out of range, gets cut down. Everybody recalling, they gotta get away from Shockwave. Huge threat, pulse bomb from Psycho, onto the back of Pistola, but he's still healthy, taking up with the ultimate. Twisted Minds sacking onto the cart. Simple found a kill in the chaos without Shockwave. Maybe it could be hard to close out. Twisted Minds, they're gonna have that one last chance to commit here. 2 minutes left on the clock for Virtus.pro.
But this needs
They would love to cap with more than a minute.
You need to double down here. You have the sound barrier. You need to push into the very close cornered chokes here. You need to push the spawn doors with the sound barrier. Not give Twisted Minds any room.
You can end this right here, but the pulse bomb's not going to be it. It goes a little bit wide. Quartz going to get healed up. KSA can hold this card for quite a long time. Here's the beat coming in, trying to catch into the backline. The backlines are all hiding away though. KSA ulting, trying to stay alive. He's a slow on cart. Where's the support they need to get here in time? They need to save him. He's so low. He just barely goes down, but they've done enough. Twisted Mind stabilizing at the spawn.
Simple Funny Astro fights up against one. It's just Gala and Twisted Minds. They hold on. Oh my god, they barely hold on. The supports, they live through that pressure from the sound barrier, and KSA barely just finds enough time to stay alive. Purchase enough time for Twisted Minds to get back and contest the card, and now Twisted Minds are in a great position. They got the overclock, the orbital ray. Simple's coming up on this Nono. Virtus.pro, they only have a minute, and they're in a serious ultimate economy disadvantage right now, Jake.
And the Ana can do so much. One nade here could end it. Big rail into KSA, forces out that form. They're trying to put a lot of pressure on him, trying to get that ray out. Here's the OC coming out from Quartz. Has a bit of opportunity to put a lot of pressure on Pistola, dropping low, not having the health to fight. Big rails forcing everyone back into sleep. Sets up for the easy kill. Beautiful by Simple. Support ult still being held on to by Twisted Minds, saving them for that final fight. They're considering chasing out Virtus.pro, trying to evict them from any kind of position on the map. But VP looks like Ram up on this high ground above Quartz. Too hard to clear from that position. Lucio slips away, and Virtus.pro, it's down to this one final fight. Shockwave, 72 to the overclock. He needs that tool. It's so critical here. But the Nano, the Ray, it's devastating for Twisted Minds. A lot of options. Nano immediately onto KSA. He goes straight to the backline, putting a lot of pressure down. Pistola getting swarmed, hit from all sides. Needs the Ray to be able to stay alive. Here it comes in, dropped on his head from Gala. Funny Astro responds in kind. The fight so far so good. Nade comes into the Gala, but there's no follow-up. And J-Woo shuts down one of the key supports. A pulse bomb from J-Woo on the courts. He's gonna get this done. Virtus.pro are taking us to overtime. Psycho finds one, but it won't be close to enough with the overtime spawns. No shot. You can make this whole Twisted Mind. Psycho One last stall, one last contest, but it's not enough. And this is a cinematic match if there ever was one, Johnny.
Jwoo finds an incredible pick onto Simple, and it came down to the biotic grenade there, I thought, Jake. The orbital ray was going to come online for Virtus.pro, and Simple, he just needed to hit a big biotic grenade to open things up for the rest of his team. He only hit Gala, though, and that just wasn't enough. Twisted Minds not able to capitalize on those ultimates, and Virtus.pro, they finished the map. 1 minute apiece here, Jake. In overtime.
It's so easy to find the mistakes, right? Because both teams are, you could just feel the intensity of the emotion in this match. Both teams want this. They want it to be decisive. They want to, although this isn't to qualify for EWC, mentally, that's how it feels. This is really that team that you are vying for that spot against. This is the team that is do or die against. And VP, back to their standby, playing the heavy poke style, but with the Ramatra, a little bit more balanced option. They probably expect Twisted Minds could up the tempo, and that's exactly what Twisted Minds are going to do. I love the idea of rocking out with a sim comp here, completely flip the story of that first point attack.
Yeah, Twisted Minds, they struggled on that first point attack because they played the Mei with the Illari. It took them 4 whole minutes, and they barely just captured the first point in time. I suspect, knowing that Virtus.pro, they're going to play this poke-heavy composition, they're going to change things up, and it's actually going to be the Juno Brig with the Diva after all. Actually, a couple of swaps, some adjustments.
Okay, no sim.
Oh, it is going to be the double speed here, Jake. They're upping the pace tremendously.
Gala and Shockwave can get a lot done here, but they can just as easily be cleaned up by a team rush. This off-angle flank hold is so critical. Twisted Minds also can't make any mistakes, and look how aggressive Gala's being, fearless here, taking the fight to Psycho, shutting him down. Can Twisted Minds reset? They have to. 2 down. There's no chance for them in this fight. They need to get out. They need to live. But Funny Astro's down. KSA, he cannot die here. Is he dying late? Okay, I guess KSA is alive. Psycho to the Sombra for the desperation touch. The sim thinking about it. Twisted Minds maybe falling here. It's also the possibility of a draw in this map, so even if you fail the attack,
they should be able to TP it to the point here.
Twisted Minds, they should be able to get it. TP, the high ground TP, low ground TP, just getting them across the line, but there's just too much damage. Pressure from all sides on the teleporter, takes down Funny Astro. That's the beginning of the end of this attack. Twisted Minds, 4 players alive, hit from all sides, the buildables, the flankers, big pressure from Gala, takes a little bit of pressure himself, but there's just overwhelming stats on the board right now for Virtus.pro, cleaning house now. And once again, a successful defense earns them, the worst case is a draw here. However, only 1 minute to attack with. Honestly, I think that's the expected outcome here. Twisted Minds should probably be able to force this to a game 6, Johnny.
Yeah, that pick from Gala was tremendous onto Psycho because it just stops Twisted Minds from everything they want to do. They get a late stagger. And realistically, that last fight TP rather to the point, like you're not going to get value from that because you put yourself in a hole, you're closed off in that room.
There's just no time, right? There's just no time.
Well, they can poke from all those different angles. So Twisted Minds, they really weren't able at all to execute a single fight the way they wanted to because Gala found that pick. So a huge individual play from Gala, which now gives Virtus.pro the opportunity here. Just 1 tick and this series is theirs.
They can absolutely do it. Their first offense was amazing. Twisted Minds, this is their last chance. What do they put all their chips in on? Looks like it'll be the Ana. I like this choice, actually. I think the Ana, 1 big nade here, and this attack comes crumbling down. VP, got to think about what they want to do. With only 1 minute, you don't have much time to think. You can scout the enemy comp, but you have to make a snap call on what you're going to end up playing. See the positioning here for Twisted Minds. They're considering how they want to play this. I think the Ana position is going to be the most critical. Ana is the hero to make this defense or for it to fall apart. If this is not a big nade, you could find yourself in trouble. VP, see what Jwoo ends up going with. Will it actually be the sim? Will he swap over to Tracer?
We talked about
it's the sim.
Talk about it in
I like the sim,
well, Jake, but Vistola, he's able to sniff out the location of these support players, right? And so they're going to be reactive here to where Twisted Minds are positioned and then utilize the teleporter to try to get within reach.
KSA is taking this fight on the offense, but he doesn't have form. Jwoo's getting a little bit torqued. Gonna have the TP start like a big nade though. Is it enough? 4-player nade. It's exactly what Simple needed to find, and he got the job done. Jwoo down. Virtus.pro still healthy on the other 4 though. Still a chance for them to fight this out, and Simple slipped away from that one. Gonna break the TP. Healing quartz through everything. Fixa is low. Fixa needs to stay alive. Putting point pressure now. RVP trying to fight this one out, but Gala down, out of resources. Twisted Minds are healthy. The defensive nade now from Simple. And VP, last gasp. They've got to get something done here. Tracer in the backline could be taking down Simple. No, the peel comes in. Trades though both ways. Hold on. Jwoo though, surely too much to ask. The 3v1 on the point, an impossible test, even for one of the best tracers in the world. And Johnny, we are going to a game 6.
We're going to map 6. Oh my god, are you kidding me? What an unbelievable series we have on our hands, Jake.
Let them cook,
Are you
man.
serious?
Let them cook.
Absolute cinema. You couldn't have asked for more. This
So,
is
all right, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the rule set has changed. It's been so long since I've seen a game 6. The map pool is now open with the exception of maps that have already exactly been played. So you can play any game mode, I believe, but you can't re-pick a map that you've been played. And I believe it should be Twisted Mind's map pick again, because I believe draws just get the same map pick again for whoever picked the last one.
Well, we'll get someone to give us the exact information, because you're right. I can't remember the last time we saw map 6 actually.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, but tell me if I'm wrong, Prod. You can hit me with the buzzer, but
I don't think you can pick a map where you can't draw, so I don't think we can see a hybrid again.
oh, I think you can. I think there's no rule there. I've never heard that rule.
Well,
I just think it's
You seem
very unlikely you would draw
confident, Jake, so
again.
I'm leaning on you, buddy. You're giving the aura, the confidence aura right
We
now.
could go
so
map 7,
that means
Johnny.
you're
Just
probably
think
right.
of the possibilities. We could go map 7 in a best of 5.
Oh my god.
Oh my! We get some cinematic games, Johnny. We're just blessed. We're just blessed.
Yeah, we truly are actually. Yeah, we truly
Honestly,
are.
Johnny, it's a good thing we weren't taking bets, because I would have bet after the silent listening, I would not have believed Twisted Minds would survive that mount. The silent listening, I was like, oh man, you guys. Viewers, you got to stick with us. I mean, come on, you
Simple's
cannot
small
miss
enough.
the end of this ridiculous series. We're going to a game 6. We'll be back with the conclusion, potentially, of this series after a short break. If you're just tuning in with us, you are joining for one of the best matches of the season. We are going to a game 6. It was a game 5 draw. Virtus.pro brought the series back. They were down 0-2. They bring it back to a game 5. It goes incredible overtime fights back to back to back, and they end in the draw on Midtown. So now the map pool resets, game modes open again. You can't replay the same maps we've already seen in the series. And Twisted Minds, it's going to be their map pick. We'll see where they take us.
Yes, and the map pick has actually come in. It's going to be Circuit Royale. So they take them to a map that the Virtus.pro are known to be extremely good at. Twisted Minds actually banning the Pharah, not wanting to see any of that poke, and they actually protect ban damage heroes, of course, and Virtus.pro banning out the Juno. Very interesting here. Jake, I'm kind of thinking...
I like that we don't even have a draw asset. It's the OWCS viewers won. I think this is actually
We
the most
all won.
accurate.
We won.
The most accurate is the
won.
outcome is OWCS viewers got the dub.
But I think as this series has kind of developed as well, obviously there has been a ton of individual players standing out, you know, Shockwave on the Cassidy and such, but Simple had an incredible performance on the Ana, particularly late there on Midtown. And, you know, played some Illari as well early on, and going to Circuit, Jake, I kind of feel like this could boil down to a Gala versus Simple matchup here, because they tend to get creative with some of those hero picks, unless, you know, we go to Brawl, but this would be a good map for both of those players to change things up and try to take the series into their own hands.
I like the Juno ban because I think the Juno has been good. However, we still have now Funny Astro Lucio and Simple Kiri on the table. And if you wanted to play a fast-paced, aggressive dive, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better support line in the region, maybe in the world, for exactly that comp. These guys look really sick on it. Meanwhile, it's a great point. Gala has been insane on the Illari and has shut down a lot of the flanks at times. And this is a wonderful Illari map. A lot of space to work with and a lot of like controlled angles, positions that are very strong for the pylon. A lot of good options to work with. Interesting choices so far. I like the Pharah ban though. I think that's actually kind of a wise choice from TM, because I think the Illari Pharah combo is particularly annoying. It's like hard to look up at the Pharah and deal with the Illari at the same time. You just hit from all angles. So
Yeah, and
I think teams are running thin on bans at this point in the series.
They are running thin on bans. But I feel like this might also be another opportunity to bring out the BAP as well. You know, a fantastic map for Baptiste as well.
True.
Baptiste has crept himself into the meta. And so I really do think that, you know, looking at both of these teams, Virtus.pro has played a ton of Baptiste in this series here as well. So it opens a door for, again, I think it's going to come down to some of the support hero picks in this matchup between Twisted Minds and Virtus.pro.
We'll be getting into it now. Can't draw an escort. You technically can, but it is
Okay.
it has
All right.
never happened to my knowledge in a professional match. So I'm gonna say it's not gonna happen.
I think the closest we got to like someone being held at 0 was like Toronto Defiant on Dorado got held in the Overwatch League to like 3 meters or something. But
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't
like
happen, Jake.
actual 0
It
for
doesn't
4
happen.
minutes.
It doesn't
If that happens in a pro match, like check the PayPal, check the cash out.
Oh my god. All right. Well, here we go. It's going to be the Lifeweaver BAP.
And
for the
Yubi's
defense.
in, bro. Oh my, this is wild. They're going
There's
with
no
the
way.
sub on map 6.
Map 6 sub? Are you serious?
Somebody had to come in and change the story for Twisted Minds. Somebody had to come in and change the momentum because remember the last 3 maps are draw, loss for them, right? They've been taking heat. And maybe the UB Sim is exactly the kind of cook they need to get into the kitchen on Circuit Royale.
Okay, but Psycho was incredible on the Tracer. Now, True Real, different dynamics, of course. Maybe doesn't suit Psycho as well, but this is going to be one of the substitutions we remember. The reflecting.
I feel like the Weaver is also not, I mean, they don't have the best options to deal with the Sim, but the high ground being held onto really aggressively here by VP. I think they're using a pedal platform to be able to heal into this high angle. It's kind of a sick play from Gala, but maybe an overextension, just doing a little bit too much. Where was the Weaver pull? Maybe already used. Pistola goes down, and yeah, Twisted Minds just running a much more straightforward style, and they're like, we get torqued on the Sim and we speed amp, and what are you gonna do about that?
So we actually saw a lot of teams in North America. They struggled with that Lifeweaver Baptiste setup on the defense, actually. But Twisted Minds, because they played this Sim with the Ram, they just pressured the Ram, and the life grip wasn't there from Fixa. And so Twisted Minds get a ton of push on their hands here, and actually going to a pretty good position here. Simple can build this amplification matrix in time.
Yeah, Shockwave on the Sojourn, relatively quiet so far. Not so much being built up. Simple under a lot of pressure, has a lot of work to do on the healing front. There's the pull forced out. That the key defensive tool now not available. Simple very close to that amp matrix, could be a bit of a problem. Jwoo using the pedal platform to great effect, pumping damage, has to open online. Simple instant kills Shockwave with the ultimate, and a big bullet shot turns it around though. Hold on, Simple still healthy. The regenerated matrix is enough, and Simple is eating on the Baptiste.
Simple's going crazy. It's a big difference maker for Twisted Minds in this series. Kept Twisted Minds alive on Midtown, and now making his impact felt here on this Baptiste. Jwoo over to the Venture here, might actually swap around here, or is he going to stick with the Venture? All right.
I think the Sim is really good against Lifeweaver. Lifeweaver's a very defensive hero, and Sim is like one of the greediest possible characters. When you get full energy, you just cook everything. You can't heal through that. And so I'm curious to see how VP take this. They need to pressure UB. They need to find the kill on this Sim, but not easy with Funny Astro and Simple right behind him. Twisted Minds looking very stable, have found a bit more momentum here. And KSA's through the wall, the beat as well. The Amp Matrix getting nothing done. Gala just crushed, fighting around the tree. Good luck, UB's eating you up here. On top of that, fighting into the annihilation is just impossible. I mean, KSA is cooking.
Yeah, Twisted Minds are just exploding with this composition. Virtus.pro, just when they think they're about to get an honest fight with this BAP Lifeweaver composition, Twisted Minds are just exploding on top of Virtus.pro.
Did you just, Johnny,
secures the value.
Did you just say an honest fight with the Baptiste Lifeweaver composition?
This is 2025, Jake. Get with the times, brother. No,
all right, my bad. My bad. I'm behind the times. I'm an old head. We'll see.
Here.
Twisted Minds, though, they have the sim wall so potent here, but for now, they're just going to back off. They want to regroup, get the full strength. And Shockwave, I mean, getting the ult to get the full position back on the map, it's not actually the worst trade. Even though he gets no kills, the position is strong for VP. And Jwoo now over to the Venture has this allowed them to maybe match some of this aggressive tempo. TP straight to the backline though from UB. The sim wall on the point. How do you contest this? Venture is maybe the great answer for that, right? Like continuing to hold on and just tolerate holding that point. They're waiting out the sim wall. UB split away from the team, tries to teleport, but it's an awkward TP. It's not really where he wants it to be. And Pistola now on top of them with the ulti. Twisted Minds like splitting into the attacker spawn here. This is absolutely ridiculous position. But I feel like it's not getting enough. Court still finds that one kill. Simple hold on with the Amp Matrix. Turning things around. UB's now coming back in.
What is this?
They've stayed alive. Unbelievable. In the attacker spawn. But Pistola now takes down UB. Shockwave finds the one on the court. Simple needs this kill. Needs more. But can't quite find it. And it's a beautiful stall from Jwoo to make all that possible.
Yeah, 0.9 meters. But Virtus.pro, they're going to hold on. And like you said, this Venture pick against the Symmetra has really worked in Virtus.pro favor. They now have a really strong brawl composition with this Ramatra, Lucio BAP, and Twisted Minds. You gotta say, that was a very awkward fight for them. They're trying to land these picks. trying to spread out, play the angles, but not finding success now at the Jwoo. Makes it pretty surprising swap over to
Instant
Venture.
burst. Great ultimate from Gala. Punishes Funny Astro with the instant combo rail. Great coordination from Virtus.pro. It's going to be enough for the 1 kill to send Twisted Minds packing, but they don't lose anybody else. There's not going to be that big farm of ult charge that you would have wanted in a victorious fight for Virtus.pro. TM with 2 minutes on the clock. A lot to work with.
This need to be Quartz with the Bola shot here, but Virtus.pro, they have so many things going for them. Sound barrier, overclock, Twisted Minds, they really have to take their time here. And you know, if an ultimate comes out from Virtus.pro, don't overinvest.
There's the OC Shockwave, 2 shots back to back. Sit down, Quartz. And now Simple, yeah, just can't hide from that one. Not enough cover.
But that's fine,
It's
though.
1 ult at a time, but it keeps wiping Twisted Minds off of the field. They can reset pretty quick with the sim comp, and they are building towards a nice advantage in this next fight. UB, I think, with this sim wall is going to be a key difference maker.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Now, though, you've built those ultimates, Jake, so Shockwave using that overclock to win a fight, that's fine. Now, KSA pushing with the Annihilation.
Big ulti trying to hit the backline is Jwoo, but the beat comes down. Jwoo going to struggle to get any more done. Much better beat, though, from Fixa. Isn't enough to turn this fight around. UB healthy. Here's the Bolo shot into Pistoli. Just tanks it, soaks it on that tanky face. And now UB close that sim wall. KSA has lived forever with that ultimate Amp Matrix from Simple. Surely this is too much pressure for the defenders to hold. Drone forced out. UB dancing with death here into the back line. The sim wall. Final nail in the coffin. Virtus.pro just without the help to contest. They're coming back in, but yeah, just an overwhelming pressure on the card. Jwoo can hold it out for just a moment longer, but the Amp Matrix is there, keeps Quartz up, and they're on towards the last point. The sim proving to be too much so far for VP. Do they have the answer on 3rd point?
Yeah, and you have to also recognize Twisted Minds. They're doing such a great job at recognizing what fights they can win and when to invest their ultimates, and they do a great job securing the 2nd point there now. Contesting for this high ground, obviously they invested a lot of ultimates in that previous fight. This is now Virtus.pro dropping a window. This is going to be a tougher fight for Twisted Minds. Pistola cleans up with the Annihilation.
Yeah, big damage with the support of that Amp Matrix. But those are, I mean, you're throwing 2 ults to win a fight where Twisted Minds haven't committed anything at all. Good on Virtus.pro, though, taking it straight to the cart. They don't give up much cap time. They're going to be able to play here right from the choke point. And there's no obvious answer to Shockwave's overclock. Both of these hit scan players, though, can have a big impact on this fight with their ultimates. UB forced off the TP instantly. A little bit of cart progress, but Shockwave would love to catch backline. He doesn't want to pause. Big headshot by Quartz! Takes down Shockwave, and the ultimate is not going to come out. Virtus.pro trying to force something, getting a little bit over-aggressive, but Twisted Minds read the play. Looking to get in a little bit active now. Venture with no burrow. Could be vulnerable for the repush. Here it comes from Twisted Minds. Surging forward is KSA. Straight to the back line. Very healthy still. And trying to clean up even Bastola. The TP behind Bastola just going to go sack on the card. Take the wipe. Lucio trying to get anything done, but Quartz, too much fancy footwork to get through. Shockwave, another chance. Another bite at the apple with the overclock, but this time is a different story. Funny Astro, he's got that beat online.
So many
2%.
ultimates. So many ultimates for Twisted Mind here. Quartz opened things up, Jake, which has allowed Twisted Minds with a great opportunity here to get the complete
Big TP. This position is monstrous to Twisted Minds. The ult is perfect. Look at this. The window over the top of the cart. Vix is trying to disrupt it himself, but he gets smoked by Simple on the high ground. The beat comes down. The Annihilation as well. An impossible card to touch. Jwoo doing what he can with the ultimate, but it's just overwhelming. Twisted Minds capped with 11 seconds to spare, and you're right, Johnny. It's all because of Quartz opening up that last fight. That's a radical game changer.
If you're Virtus.pro, yeah, you can't expect to win out those fights when Twisted Minds, they have the 4 or 5 ultimates. It's just too much momentum going Twisted Minds' way. But they don't, Twisted Minds aren't allowed to be in that situation if it's not for Quartz opening things up. 16-4 is Quartz so far, 9,000 damage with that Freya. I thought it was a really well played attack by Twisted Minds, Jake. I think they had a great presence of mind, how to take those fights, when to invest their ultimates. And it looked really clean, finished with 11 seconds to go on a map which has been kind of difficult to complete here, Jake. Virtus.pro, it's going to be really difficult for them to match what Twisted Minds were just able to accomplish.
I've seen enough, Johnny. Sim is meta. Sim is broken.
Okay.
Like, this is good. Like, this, especially, you know, with the Pharah ban on this map, it's like, I don't think there really is an answer. I think Sim is the meta. I like Jwoo's idea to go over to the Venture, to be able to stall and delay the cart through some of those critical moments where the Sim wall's down and just, you cannot fight. You have to just hide, and at least Venture can stop the cap from coming through. Maybe on the offense, VP can find something a little bit more purchase. On defense, Sim, maybe he's a little bit more awkward. You know, you don't get to control the plays as much. The attackers have a little bit more agency. Gala looking for some kind of nade. Jwoo maybe he's gonna drop a Sonic just to see what they're up against.
Let's see how they play this though. Are we gonna go for more poke heavy style? But Jwoo's actually going to go over to the Venture again. I think this is about the best response you could possibly bring out here, Jay.
Yeah, other than the mirror, and I think you don't want the mirror if you don't know what you're doing. It's better to play something that's a little bit more comfortable. And the defenders is maybe a little bit more awkward for them. Vasola takes the drone very early, but Yubi is high energy, and here he goes. He's starting to cook. Getting those heals, getting that support from Bap Lucio makes him into a real menace. Twisted Mind's got to be careful. They don't want to overplay their hand, but that's a nice lasting pick here from Pixet. Maybe even they could get one more. It's a risky pick. I don't think this is a good risk to take if you're Yubi, and he's going to back off the play. But that's a very strong opening fight. VP, it's very scary. You drop that Ram Shield, and there's nothing you can do. Sim is going to be max energy.
Yeah, and you still have to be a bit cautious if you're Virtus.pro because you need to play around these UB teleports, right? So if you can get out the teleporter, that's great.
KSA's out deep here. Quartz swings with the bola shot. They're attacking them into the spawn, giving no quarter to these offensive players, and big shots in for Quartz is enough to take down Fixa. Here he goes looking to punish Jwoo. Counter shot from the bola. Does it find anything? Twisted Mind still healthy. Everybody looking strong. Shockwave caught in a very awkward corner. They can't deal damage to him here though.
The Virtus.pro, they just haven't been able to gain any kind of momentum. Twisted Minds, they're just taking it to them.
Vastola dying again. He's alone on the cart. They're crumbling, Johnny. They're crumbling. Twisted Minds.
It's
in their hour of need.
VP,
and now they're getting aggressive. This is getting egregious. The KSA's at the spawn door, bro. This doesn't even make sense what he's doing.
No way. You don't bring the Oasis into this. I don't think this is the call.
I mean, actually, I do think this is better against the Sim because Ramatra Mirror is like impossible. You get free energy. But here's the Air Matrix. Even Orisa surely is not tanky enough to weather that storm. But the counter Matrix from Gala, maybe it's enough. Both drones forced. KSA having to back off. Trade of ultimates though, 1 for 1. You kind of take that in the dominant position you're in for Twisted Minds.
Twisted Minds has 4 ultimates here, Jake.
They have so many. I mean, the Sim wall is going to be just tremendous in this type of a fight. Bola shot again from Quartz. Goes wide this time. He's deep in the backline somehow. The beat comes in, but the DPS don't get it. They were in deep on the TP. Nice punish by VP. They're up 1 in this fight. And Twisted Mind, surely they just take the wipe here. Get whatever trades you can. Simple drops the drone, stalling for what he can. KSA buying more time. And with 1 minute 30 on the clock, VP are going to start the map.
But that was actually a pivotal moment in this attack for Virtus.pro because, like you said, Quartz and Yubi, they kited into a room and didn't get the sound barrier.
I think they TP'd into the enemy spawn, so I'm going to say that's not on Funny Astro. I'm just going to go ahead and call that one out. But Lucio wasn't ready for you guys to be in the enemy spawn.
He does such a great job playing together, and one mistake like that slip up and allows Virtus.pro to get back into things here. But still, though, like you said, this Sim wall, Jake, it's going to give Twisted Mind such a great opportunity to play this fight however they want.
Yeah, and the Venture ulti comes out, instant sim wall response from Yubi, gives them a little bit of an option how to play around this, dancing on the wall, very awkward. Ultimate as well, ripped from KSA. Virtus.pro just have to kite back into this. KSA still alive, still ticking away on that ultimate. Maybe it's been kited over. Here's the TP into the backline with Simple. He's in the back, he's smoking them on the back. Getting in with the windows up soon. Big spin from Vastola. Shockwave finds another. It's absolute chaos on the cart. But Simple, KSA still healthy, still fighting this one out. Window if you want to commit it. KSA will not give up even an inch of cart time. And he's playing immaculately on the back. Big connection from an arrow is enough for the follow-up. Shockwave gets it done. Quartz is hanging back, making space from the range. And KSA, he smells victory here. Yubi coming back on the sim. Is going to be one final fight, one last chance for Virtus.pro. It's only the Amp Matrix, but the aggression once again from TM over the top. Simple, he's low, he's in the drone. No skills left. KSA though, cleaning up the backline. The rest of Virtus.pro is crumbling. The weight of the sim is too immense. And Twisted Minds in map 6, Johnny. They're getting it over the line with the desperate sub. Yubi gets it done.
Match of the year in EMEA, Jake. Unbelievable performance from Twisted Minds, and they finally close out the series on map 6. That UB substitution, Jake, that could have gone either way. Either you're the heroes bringing in UB for the Symmetra play, or had they lost that map, you would have looked like that sub in some kind of way. They finally get it done. At the end of the day, it worked out the way they thought it would. The Symmetra pick, it was beautiful from UB, and it was all the big difference maker here on Circuit Rally map 6, Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, already in map 5, I was like, getting really nervous, right? Like, so much credits to Bistola. Like, he's swapping in from map 5, like the match point map, where I'm just like, oh man, being that sub is rough. And then the opposition subs in UB for that last one, I was like, oh man,
Wow.
this is rough. This was some of the best Overwatch we've seen all year, maybe even the last 2 years. I can't remember a match like that last year. Also, I can't remember the last time we actually had a draw and went
Was
all
this
the
the
way to
same
map
match?
6.
Oasis? When did we play Oasis?
When did that even happen?
Few hours
Actually,
ago.
so true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, most of those maps were not like a one-sided affair, right? They really were trading blows, and it started already on Oasis.
They were trading blows, but I mean, for TM to go up 2-0, in the end, they looked in such good position to close out the series. I thought there's a real chance it could go to a 3-0, and then, I mean, they even got into a big lead here on Runasapi, but it's the scrappiness. It was Shockwave, I mean, heroics from Shockwave. There's no other word to bring back. Maps 4 and maps 3 and 4, not 4 and 5.
Generally,
and then,
the DPS
I mean,
players,
this map 5,
Shockwave, Jwoo, and Psycho, and at the very end there also Quartz, who was a little quieter early on this series. I think all 4 DPS players were like going
everyone.
above and beyond.
Yeah, it was just
all 5
insane.
DPS players. So
11, 12 players. Let's bring Ice into the fold. All 12 players played amazing. But yeah, honestly, like the fact that Virtus.pro were able to claw themselves back into the series, and now you're telling me that Twisted Minds won on map 6 after Virtus.pro, they had Twisted Minds down to overtime on the first point on Midtown. And Twisted Minds get all the way back to win, or draw map in Midtown rather, to force a map 6. Virtus.pro gotta be kicking themselves because they forced map 5 and were in a great position to win the series, and they just couldn't close it out.
I mean, we went from completely silent comms, which I'm still not sure, was that
So
us?
I'm
Was it
going to
them?
say, you don't take an expert to know that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign to have the comms be full silent on map 5.
Wow.
I was a little worried, and not that the comms on the other side were much louder earlier on. I was like, are both boomed?
They got into it. They got into it, right?
Yeah,
we didn't hear as much from TM, but I think it was like the first fight. We were still listening to TM, and I was like, genuinely, is the listening broken? Is something wrong? I think they actually were just tilted. And but in the overtime, right? In the overtime, they had the wherewithal to be like, you know what, like they're just so insanely strong players that they could bring it together and clutch so many OT fights, despite being on the precipice of a reverse sweep, to take it to map 6, to even get that chance to win the series. I have a lot of respect for the Twisted Minds players. It's very hard to bring it back from that like mental position.
Absolutely. Let's actually have a chat with one of their players. I believe Psycho should be joining us via voice to have a quick chat after this insane series we just got to witness. Psycho, are you with us? Can you hear us?
I'm with you guys. Can you hear me?
Oh yes,
can
and
hear
we are
you,
with
man.
you guys. Man, what a series! What a nail biter! What a barn burner! What's going through your head right now? I mean, this was probably the most intense and insanely entertaining series we've seen all year long thus far.
Honestly, I'm pretty happy I'm happy that we won, but also I'm a bit disappointed that it was this close. I mean, I have high expectations for this team. We've been doing amazing in scrims. And I mean, as you guys probably saw, second map was close as well, but I really thought we would 3-0. I think everything was like Runasapi is our best map, and we had a comp matchup that we are very comfortable with. So I really thought we should 3-0. So when that didn't happen, I was kind of disappointed, but we won, so it's all good.
So I gotta talk about Midtown, man. That map was pretty crazy, pretty intense. It looked rough, man. You guys were going into one of the most like tilting comps you could ever play against on the defense, like the mass buildables poke comp, and you guys just clutch up in overtime, like back to back to back. What was it like getting in deeper into Midtown?
I mean, obviously after we lost like the first maybe 3 fights, I was getting a bit worried, but we managed to clutch every single point. And then after we capped all 3 points, I was like, okay, guys, we just won purely based off mechanics, not because of team play or anything else, purely based off mechanics. So if we can get our stuff together, for lack of better words, then we'll be fine. And I guess we did that.
Still though, going to map 6 there, UB gets subbed in, and you know, I think it was fairly one-sided there. Symmetra, which is a big difference maker, which allowed Twisted Minds to close out this series. But what was it like sitting on the sidelines there for map 6 after you had an insane performance in this match, dude? You seriously popped off, and then UB comes in, you know, it's probably what you practice, but still, what was it like watching that final map unfold?
Yeah, I mean, Circuit Rail is such a good sim map. So whenever we get to pick it and protect DPS, or so we can play sim, we always go for it. It's one of our best maps as well. We always win it, so it's very nice. Also, I mentioned this at the start of the season when Simple came in. Like, we have so many tricks up our sleeve now. We can play the Zen, we can play the sim. We have so many alternatives that people, you know, aren't really excited to play against because it's so hard to play against, and they can't really practice only against us. So yeah, that's why I think we're very good right now.
Simple was cracked, the series.
It actually was. I mean, all of you, the team, like across the board, it's been really, really, really fun to watch this series. So once again, congratulations, Dankeschön for the interview, and we hope to talk to you again very soon. Bye.
Thank you guys for having me. Bye-bye.
Always great to hear it from the best. Simple, I believe, I just heard, is also going to be our player of the match.
Well,
yeah, actually, I thought Simple is going to win the Midtown there as well. He got that 3K nade, if I remember correctly.
I mean, that was to save the game, right? To allow us to go to game 6. Was that nade
on the on as well? Finished 2 people off.
And here, I mean, the thing is, like, honestly, if he doesn't hit that nade, they probably lose. It actually is that simple in the sim comp. If the Ana hits the God nade on the TP, you just win. You wipe them on, you get a huge nade, and you just win. If the Ana doesn't hit that nade, she dies for attempting it, and you probably lose from there with the sim player advantage. So Simple, man, under pressure, still delivering.